Welcome everybody. Hope everybody had a good Thursday, and we're moving on to a good Friday. Oh, isn't that a thing? That's like a holiday or something. Welcome. We are finally live. How's it going? I am very tired. I stayed up way too late last night. Far too late. And I have to go vote in person today. Why do you start streams very early? Well, I start them at 9 in the morning so that my streams can be over by noon so that I have time to work on other stuff. Are you afraid of death? In sort of an abstract sense. Going to an LGS tonight to play Magic and I already feel the tiredness of tomorrow. Ooh, I feel that. I feel that. All right, well, we do have our first guest. So why don't we bring up Weird Thoughts 8? Weird Thoughts 8, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Weird Thoughts, do you believe in a god?
I do.
Okay, well, I don't. So why should I believe in the god that you believe in?
Because it's free will.
That doesn't seem like it's giving me a reason.
The people I know that are atheist and agnostic and the ones that believe in the one true God, Yahweh, there's a difference in their lives and their existences. It's observable.
Okay. So what's the reason I should believe in this god?
Well, it brings peace.
I'm
Gives
pretty
you the understanding that there's
at
answers
peace.
that you will never know.
So you mean like it like prevents your curiosity from bothering you?
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the scientific community, I mean, they've been trying to prove theory of gravity, theory of relativity. They're all stuck in theoretical status.
The theory of relativity is like one of the most well-supported models that we've ever come up with.
Yeah, it's a model. It's not factual.
The way that we do science is we come up with models and then we test how good those models correspond to the observable reality that we live in. And when they match up with the observable reality that we live in, we say that that's a good model and it accurately represents reality. I don't know what the problem is with that.
Representation is not the same thing.
I never made that claim.
False. Well, here, I'll give you a good example. So we call it photosynthesis, right? If photosynthesis didn't exist, would any biological matter on this planet be able to sustain?
Perhaps in a different way, yeah. I mean, there's something called chemosynthesis.
Okay, but that's theoretical.
No, it's
We've
not.
identified photosynthesis.
Chemosynthesis is a thing that exists near hydrothermal vents.
Has there ever been an entire civilization where human beings and plant life thrive based off that model alone?
No, but you didn't ask about a civilization. You said life. And life can
we
exist without the sun. Okay,
So
yeah, humans may not survive. Humans may not exist, but life would.
So we do based off photosynthesis. What is it?
What is photosynthesis? It's a process that happens in certain kinds of plants.
It is life reborn, recreated.
I don't know what that means. Look,
when
so
oxygen dies.
Is the claim that like I should believe in God because, you know, we can't really know anything anyway, and even though we want to know something, believing in God will inform our belief that we can't know anything, and therefore we'll be satisfied? Like, what's the reason?
The reason is because in the story of creation, God created all the elements that were needed for photosynthesis to sustain before the first plant, animal, or human existed.
Wait, no, that's not true.
No,
Did you know that God created like in Genesis 1, God created plants before God created the sun?
You're reading that backwards.
No, day 3, God creates the plants. Day 4, God creates the great lights to rule the sky, or the great lights to rule the day and the night, which is the sun and the moon.
What's the first thing that he said in creation?
He said, "Let there be light."
Okay, and what does John 1:1 say?
I have no idea.
In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God. All things were created through him. Without him, no things were created. What are the first words God says in creation? Let there be light.
Sure, but
That's the
plants
first
need the
appearance
sun,
of Christ.
right?
And we call it the sun, ironically. You're catching on.
Well, that's it's an etymological fallacy, but plants need the sun, the big bright thing in the sky. Plants need that to live, right?
What's interesting is, like, when you look at that big bright thing, why is it, if it's a total sphere of emitting heat and light and radiancy, why is there
Can
a
you
black
address
center?
what I said?
I did.
No, you kind of just turned onto some random pivot about the conspiracy at the sun. So my question is, I guess actually it wasn't even a question, it was a statement. So plants need the sun, i.e. the big bright thing in the sky, to survive.
Yes. No, they
plants
need light.
Don't just need any old kind of light, right?
No, you can literally get a UV lamp and you can have plants grow. Can you not?
So if you get a specific kind of light, perhaps. But so
John said,
you think that there was the Earth, right? The Earth is a thing, and you think that there was, water and land, and you think that there was light and there was plants, but no sun for the first 3 days?
It doesn't say there was. It says there was light.
Yeah, so in your view, there were just plants hanging around without a sun?
Is the sun where we get the light?
Yeah.
You're sure of that?
Like 99.9% of all of the light that we get on Earth is from the sun.
Okay. And has anybody been to the sun to confirm that?
Yeah. Do you mean like people, or do you mean like have we sent instruments? Because yeah, we've sent instruments.
Oh, we've actually sent instruments to test the actual surface of it.
Well, the sun doesn't have a surface proper because it's not solid.
So it's another theoretical thing, and what I'm telling you is
no, it's not theoretical.
Like, have you ever actually gone out and looked at the sun?
Yep.
What does it do when you look at it too much?
Hurts your eyes. So you shouldn't look at it unless it's sunset or sunrise.
It's kind of like, God used a bush for Moses. When Jesus came down from the mountain, he was transfigured. Moses the same.
What?
He uses objects.
Okay, so
to block his pure form.
Weird thoughts. You gotta listen. You gotta figure from my perspective. This all sounds very silly. Why should I believe any of this?
Well, your whole "I believe in an idea to be fact" is silly to me.
When did I say that?
Well, your theoretical model of hasn't been proven that humanity.
Which theoretical model hasn't been proven?
The one that you said in light of photosynthesis.
What theoretical model in light of photosynthesis did I say that hasn't been proven?
Didn't exist, would we exist?
I never said that we would exist if photosynthesis didn't exist.
You said there's other models.
No, I said that there's other kinds of life. For example, chemosynthesis or chemosynthetic organisms are organisms, and these actually exist. We can just go look at them.
Proven?
Yeah, they actually exist. There are species of bacteria that are chemosynthetic.
Oh, and there's actual
that do chemosynthesis, rather.
Humans and trees. And
I'm not talking about humans. I'm just talking. Bacteria is life. It's a kind of life.
So God's model is better.
What?
Gotcha. God's model's better by definition.
Better in what way? What are you talking about? You made the claim. I don't know. Like, do you have like wax in your ears? You made the claim that life couldn't exist, or rather, you asked me if life could exist without photosynthesis, and I said, yeah, technically, there are other organisms that don't rely on sunlight in order to live. These are organisms these are organisms that do chemosynthesis, for example. And then you for some reason brought up humans. Like, that, my claim wasn't that, like, oh, humans could exist with chemosynthesis. Like, that wasn't my claim. I don't know why we're comparing. Like, this is a crazy thing that you're doing.
Observable nature right now. You're desperately reaching for a minimal, obscure equation to try to
This isn't an equation. It's just a kind of bacteria. What?
That bacteria, can it exist without oxygen or light?
It exists without light. I don't know if they exist without oxygen, though. I can look that up. In anaerobic bacteria. Synthesizing bacteria require oxygen. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I guess it depends on the species. There are some that do use oxygen and others do not.
Okay, what do they use as their driving force of existence?
They use the chemicals that are available. That's what the chemo and chemosynthesis means.
And are those biologically created?
The chemicals? No, they come from like the middle of the Earth. They come from hydrothermal vents.
So they're created in biology.
What? No, no.
You said they came from the center of the Earth. Do we have labs down there?
Well, we do have some labs at the bottom of the ocean, and the lava that they thrive off of, which contains the chemicals.
They're biologically created when it was established.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Evidence for that claim?
Yeah, you can't name me a single source of an institute or a scientist that created that themselves. Without the assistance
created
of
what?
any biological
That created chemicals that chemosynthetic organisms can feed off of? You want to bet? Okay, so for example, some chemosynthetic organisms, I mean, well, some do use oxygen, some don't. But for example, the ones that don't, for example, feed off of methane. We can create methane.
Oh yeah, we do. Biologically.
No, I mean like we can produce methane in a lab.
How do we do it?
With chemistry. Did you not take chemistry in high school?
Already exists.
You can synthesize chemicals.
In creation.
Do you think that we can't synthesize chemicals?
Synthesizing is basically duplicating what already exists.
What do you?
You're using God's design.
Oh my God. So it seems like you just keep jumping and moving the goalposts as much as you can, because first you said that, we can only do it biologically, you can't do it in a lab. And then I told you that, yeah, obviously we can create methane in a lab. This is like a really simple molecule that's really easy to make. And you're like, but you're using God's design to do it. Like, did you forget your brain at the library?
Do they use already existent biological matter to recreate?
To make methane? No.
What do they make it with?
Methane is a very simple molecule. It has carbon and it has hydrogen.
Matter comes
That's
from nothing.
When did I say that?
Because to make something, you have to have material.
Yeah, so carbon, hydrogen, these are not biological matter. These are atoms.
They're existent in biology.
They're also existent in non-biology. They're just atoms.
You're sitting here saying, I have no IQ, but you're not tracking what I'm saying.
I don't think you're tracking what you're saying.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. All of those molecules. Cool. Do we find them in earth materials?
You mean the atoms? We find most atoms on Earth, sure.
Most atoms?
Yeah, not all.
Name me an atom a human being is created from nothingness.
Why do you think that the options are it either was created from nothing or it was found on Earth? That's not a true dichotomy.
Name me one atom a human created.
Human synthesized moscovium, for example. It's not found on Earth.
Oh my gosh. And to synthesize, do they use already existent matter that would have been established in creation?
Of course they're using already existent matter, sure.
Thank you. They can't create from nothing. Do you think that
that's a win for you? I never claimed that they made it from nothing.
They're using what God created in existence.
That's the claim. Why should I think that the God exists?
Because I have a theory that is better than yours.
Okay, what predictions does your theory make about the natural world that have come true?
The Euphrates is drying up pretty quick.
But it's not
Israel
dry, right?
Israel is
so do you want to go one for one? We can go one for one if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you say the Euphrates is drying up. To be clear, it's not dry, but in 2015 we detected gravitational waves as predicted by Albert Einstein in 1915. Okay, your turn.
Oceanographers saying about 2040 to 2045 it'll dry up. Biologists too.
Okay, that's cool, but it hasn't happened, so the prediction hasn't come true. But now it's your turn. It's your turn to come up with another prediction.
Israel will be a byproduct.
Wait, will be? So it hasn't happened yet?
By word.
So it hasn't happened yet? The predictions, they have to have come true, right? You can't just say that it will happen.
What does the prefix by mean?
I have no idea. It's used to like indicate like when something is official in some case.
So if it's a byword, Israel isn't just full of Israel.
What are you talking about?
Look in the temple. They have an Islamic mosque.
What's the prediction that the world or that your model made?
Oh, what you're doing.
What?
I can't remember what Bible verse it is, but they will be lovers of themselves, seekers of their own word, their own truth. They'll be vain, narcissistic, filled with anger, hatred.
Okay,
Will not know how to love.
That's your one, that there will be atheists who are vain and narcissistic. Okay, cool. Not a very specific prediction, but fine, maybe that counts. In 1974, I believe it was 1974, Peter Higgs and 4 other physicists predicted the existence of the Higgs boson. This was detected in 2012. Your turn.
If a scientist says something is fact when the word theory is not fact in nature to defend their stance, is that narcissism?
It sort of sounds like you're running away from the prediction game.
No, you said my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn to. It's your turn to. Well, no, it's your turn to provide a prediction, right?
Your entire institution is narcissistic in nature.
Cool. Provide another prediction that the Bible made that came true.
I literally just did. Your turn.
Sorry, that was the same one that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I legitimized it.
Yeah, we're doing different predictions each time. We're going 1-to-1. So I've given you 2 predictions. You've given me 2 predictions. Now it's your turn to give me a third prediction, and then I'll give you a third prediction.
In the end, there will be rumors of war, famine.
Okay, so has that prediction come true?
In the last 5 years.
Sorry, has that come true?
Have we seen any of the wars going on? You know, Israel, Palestine, Israel.
In order for it to have come true, you have to verify that this is the end. But I don't know how you would verify that if it hasn't ended yet.
It's coming to the end.
Sorry, one more time.
It's coming to the end.
Well, okay, but then the prediction hasn't been satisfied. You have to give me a prediction that's come true, not just that you think will come true.
Okay, give me one of your theories to become fact, and we'll be on the same level.
Sorry, one more time. That was
coughing. Give me one of your theories that are factual now.
I already gave you 2. It's your turn now.
Oh no, theory isn't facts.
Hold on, I'm sorry. We weren't talking about when a theory becomes fact. We were talking about predictions made by models or predictions made by theories that come true.
Intellectual elitist over somebody who believes the same thing as you by definition.
What are you talking about?
Something that hasn't been proven.
So look, we're going bar for bar, prediction for prediction. I've given you 2 predictions. It's your turn to give me a prediction. Do you have another?
What predictions have you given me?
Were you not paying attention?
Give me another one.
Wait, so you said that the Euphrates River is drying up, which hasn't happened yet, but it's drying up, fine. And then you also said that there will be narcissistic and self-loving atheists, right? Those were your 2 predictions. Do you not remember the 2 predictions I gave you?
No, what were they?
Man, were you even paying attention?
I was. I want to hear you say them again.
Yeah, so in 1915, Albert Einstein's general relativity predicted the existence of gravitational waves, which were discovered in 2015. In 1974, Peter Higgs and 4 other physicists, whose names I'm not remembering, made the prediction of the Higgs boson, which was detected in 2012. So those are 2 different predictions that were verified after the fact of after the theory was proposed. So it's your turn.
Okay, so why do those still sit in theoretical status if that was proven to be fact?
I'm sorry, it seems like you're running away from the goal here. The goal is for you to provide another prediction.
You're trying to sugarcoat a theory again.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. We're talking about theories that make predictions. My theories make better predictions than yours do.
Well, here, I'll make an observable fact comparative to your theory.
Sorry, give me another prediction that your God theory
Something has more weight or
density
than another. Does it fall?
I don't even know what that question means. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you pivot away from the game that we were playing. Do you have another prediction that came true or no?
Sit down.
Do you have another prediction that came true, or are you just going to run away from it?
No, you're proposing theory to be fact.
I didn't say that anywhere. We're both talking about theories, right? I have my theories, you have your theories. You said that your theories make good predictions, so I'm just asking you.
If it came true,
what are the
it
extra predictions?
Theory and it wouldn't be theory anymore.
No, that's not how theories work. Theories are just a class of scientific model. No. So look, theories don't become facts. That's just not how science functions. But look, your theory, do you have any more predictions, or do you only have the 2? Because I can offer you more. In the 1920s, it was either the 1920s or the 1930s, Albert Einstein predicted lasers. Lasers were then invented in 1956. I do relativity, so that's why I know a lot about Einstein.
Albert Einstein predicted lasers?
No, he didn't invent them. He predicted their existence.
That's funny, because in my Bible it talks about the refraction of light elements through water and different.
Those aren't lasers, but cool story. So another one is that the existence of black holes were predicted in 1916 by Schwarzschild, and then later by Oppenheimer and Snyder, and these were proven to exist in the 80s through the 2020 or through early 2020s. We got more and more evidence for these until we finally imaged them for the first time in 2019. So it's another prediction that came true. Einstein's theory of general relativity predicted the existence of things called Einstein rings, which are distorted light around certain kinds of certain large galactic clusters. We detected those in, I want to say, the 60s. It was actually quite quickly. So that's another prediction that came true. Should I keep going?
No, there's no theoretical status, so you keep doing what I told you you're going to do. You're going to be narcissistic.
Oh, so you don't understand what a theory is. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, it's not fact. I understand what a theory is.
So can you define for me what a theory is, please?
Something in a hypothesis, idea creation of that matter.
Oh, no, that's not what a theory is. At least when scientists refer to the language, that's not what a theory is.
Oh, what is it?
It's a mathematical model that has a physical interpretation.
Okay, so an interpretation is fact and definition, right?
What? Interpretation is fact and definition?
Right. Is it like irrefutable? Or is it subject to interpretation to be reinterpreted?
You test these things. The good ones you keep, the bad ones you throw away.
Okay, it's not a fact. I gotcha.
This is a category error, and it's really embarrassing for you.
No, it's really not. I'll give you a comparative analysis.
Do you think that germs cause disease?
Do I think that germs cause disease? I haven't physically seen a germ cause disease. People told me they have.
Is it a fact that germs cause disease?
Seeing is believing for me.
So it's not a fact that germs cause disease.
It's a theory to me. I haven't independently researched it, but you're taking the works of others based on.
Do you think that anything is?
Like
Do you think that
like
anything
my religion, the teachings of others, to create power, dominance, and wealth, and conformity?
Sorry, do you think that gravity? Do you think that gravity is real?
Do I think gravity is real? I think it's proven that anything denser than the material it's in falls.
Okay, that doesn't answer my question. Do you think that gravity is real?
Do I think gravity is real? Do I think a word in a theory is real? I'm going to go with no.
Okay, do you think that cells are the basis for life?
Cells are the basis for life? No, because God is the basis for life, because those cells were mentioned as being in creation.
When I say basis, I don't mean like the cause, I mean the fundamental unit of.
The fundamental unit? You're moving the goalpost, dude.
No, I'm just telling you what I mean.
God is the fundamental unit.
So, God is what makes up cells, in your view?
Everything
or that cells are composed of tiny little gods.
They became of God. They're self-sustaining.
So cells are made of God. That's what you're telling me?
It's kind of like my book says God doesn't.
Do you know what
die.
a fundamental unit is?
Wait, hold on. I was explaining something.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure. Go ahead.
It's kind of like my book says that everything was created of God, because only God and darkness exist in the beginning. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it you can't recreate matter? Why is it you can't completely destroy it without going into another form? Just like a sun.
Okay, so you're going to address what I said now?
Oh, you weren't listening?
No, because you weren't talking about what I asked. No. I asked you if you know what a fundamental unit is.
Oh no, go ahead, explain to me.
Yeah, so a fundamental unit is just the smallest block that makes up something while still having those things' properties. So we could say that the fundamental units of matter would be fermions, say electrons, protons, and neutrons. We could say that the fundamental unit of life would be the cell, because if anything is smaller than the cell, it's not alive, right? You can't have a living organism without cells. So you and I are made of cells, but the stuff that the cells are made of aren't alive. So the fundamental unit of life is the cell. Does that make sense?
It's kind of like I didn't have to read 5,000-page books to understand that, because I understand simple verbiage, fundamental being a being of necessity for the verbiage that follows.
No, fundamental doesn't mean necessity.
Oh, no, it does.
You want to bet?
If the foundation doesn't exist, does anything above it exist? No.
Do you know what the word necessary means?
Dude, are you moving the goalpost?
Well, no, I mean, like, you just don't know what the word means. Here's the definition.
I actually went to college for creative writing and journalism. I know what similes are.
Bet. So fundamental, serving as a basis supporting existence or determining essential structure or function.
Yeah, so if the basis wasn't there, like I said, the following wouldn't matter. See, I did it with less effort. And I didn't need AI
Okay, so do we
overview
agree that cells are the fundamental unit of life?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Okay,
Sure.
Do you understand that that's a theory?
that it's a theory.
Mm-hmm.
My Bible says it's a fact. Everything created came from God. And those fundamental structures cannot be completely destroyed. Or what? Created by man.
The fact that cells are the fundamental unit of life is a theory. It's called cell theory.
The cell theory is a scientific theory.
Yeah, and it tells you about a fact that cells are the fundamental unit of life. So it seems like facts can, or theories can be facts, actually.
No, they can't. Only stupid people believe that.
So you think that cell theory is not a fact?
What is the difference between a scientific theory and a regular theory?
A regular theory is a shower thought that people like you have when they get high and then they go stand in the shower for 45 minutes. A scientific theory is a well-supported model that has a mathematical basis and interpretation and is supported by the data.
Okay. So if I'm walking in my yard, right, and I step on a piece of, like, shit, but I say it's a piece of white dog shit, does that make it any less shit?
Do you hear yourself? Do you think that addresses anything I just said? Do you think that
you don't
addresses
even
anything I just
understand how
said?
simple words work, dude. I wouldn't even get started in microbiology and that stuff.
So, to be clear, you do agree that cells are the fundamental units of life, but you don't think it's a fact that cells are the fundamental units of life.
My book says it. The creator of the universe, the only one to exist.
So you think that cells are the fundamental unit of life. Great, I'm glad we agree. And you understand that the cell theory is the theory that cells are the fundamental unit of life. And so if you think it's a fact that cells are the fundamental unit of life, and it's also a theory that cells are the fundamental unit of life, then it seems like theories can be facts.
No, because I didn't say. I said I believe what's in the book. It doesn't say anything about a cell.
So then why did you say that you believe that cells are the fundamental units of life?
No, I said all matter came from God.
Oh, do you want me to replay the lie? Because I can do that for you.
I may have missaid it, but I said all matter. That's why I said it couldn't be created or destroyed.
Here, we will replay. So you think that cell theory is not a fact? Hold on, we'll rewind a little bit. Sorry.
What is the...
That cells are the... Do you understand that that's a theory? Okay.
That it's a theory?
Mm-hmm.
My Bible says it's a fact. Everything created came from God. It's a I did it with less effort. And I didn't need AI
Okay, so
overview.
do we agree that cells are the fundamental unit of life?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you agree that cells are the fundamental units of life?
Included in matter,
they
Einstein.
are. So you did agree that cells are the fundamental units of life?
Because my book, The Truth, tells me so. Because
okay, cool.
God
but that means so you think
matter,
it's a fact?
You can't destroy or create.
So do you think that it's a fact that cells are the fundamental units of life?
Oh, my book says so. So yeah, I was included in the matter.
Okay, so it's a fact that cells are the fundamental unit of life. But did you know that it's also a theory? It's called the cell theory.
You know what's funny is a Christian, after how many hundreds of years of research, just proved your fact for you. Cool.
So you just agreed that the cell theory is a fact?
No, it's still a theory.
Ah, but you said it was a fact just not 10 seconds ago.
I was actually saying a lot of stuff just to like get you to stop talking because you kept moving the goalpost. Sure,
I've been very, very focused on this for a long time now. It seems like that you don't understand what just happened, how you just got cornered and then obliterated, but you did just agree that a theory is a fact.
Oh no, it's like we're not going to avoid the fact that what I said is a white piece of dog shit, less of dog shit, and you didn't answer.
Yeah, because you were pivoting. You were trying to avoid the conversation.
Oh no.
Indeed, a theory can be a fact.
You pivoted to this out of desperation.
I was talking about this before you brought up your dog shit argument.
Oh no.
By the way, double entendre intended.
About what?
We'll let the comments laugh at that. Yeah, so we've established that theories can be facts.
The moment you realize all your theories were in majority created by God-fearing Christians, man, your life's going to be below. Yeah.
Were they? You sure about that?
Charles Darwin believed in a theologic matter, a creator.
Charles Darwin didn't believe in God.
Studying to be a Christian missionary before his father.
And when he died, he didn't believe in God. Albert Einstein was not Christian in any sense of the word.
And multiple autobiographies state that, Darwin professed Christ before he died.
No, actually, it's funny that you say that because there is one.
Lamacha, creator of the Big Bang,
hold on, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did you say that there are multiple autobiographies?
Biographies, autobiographies, either or.
Not the same thing. So there is one account from one person.
Were you trying to move for words?
There is one account from one person who didn't really know Darwin, who makes the claim that he confessed to Jesus or whatever on his deathbed. But that person wasn't his family member. His family members were there with him on his deathbed, and they have disagreed with the claim of this person. So no, it's not the truth that Darwin was a Christian all of a sudden right before he died. Also, Albert Einstein was in no sense of the word a Christian.
About whose information you select. Well, it's subjective.
I don't know about you, but if I'm going to believe anybody about the last words of a person, I'm going to believe their family who was there and not the words of some random neighbor who wasn't there.
Well, what's funny was, didn't they say that he spoke it before he died?
That's what this one woman said. That's been debunked 100 times to Sunday.
Was Darwin's family like you or like me?
I don't know offhand, but Darwin's family rejected that like he confessed towards Jesus.
They were like you.
I actually don't think that's true.
I know that because I've looked up the truth.
Was Darwin's family Christian? Let's find out. Charles Darwin's family was deeply tied to Christianity, though with highly progressive and non-traditional views. His parents and extended family were largely Unitarian, emphasizing reason over strict dogma. His devout wife, Emma Wedgwood, was a strong traditional Christian who actively debated these concepts with him. So, yeah, even his wife was a really devout Christian. So, no, his family, that was...
What the fuck did you just overlook intentionally after reading that? Read that again.
Emma Wedgwood was a strong traditional Christian who actively debated these concepts with him.
Which family members said that he didn't say?
That's his wife. I think it was his children. But we can go look up the children of...
Did his wife say that they lied?
Let's go. Do you want me to pull up the historical text that we have access to? Because I don't know this off the top of my head. I learned about this, a few years ago, and so I'm pulling it out of the recesses of my memory. One sec. Okay. So, how do you feel about AA Overview? I mean, it has sources, but how do you feel about me reading AA Overview? I can or I don't have to.
As long as the source isn't like Reuters or Wikipedia, I'm fine, dude.
Okay. How about the Saber and Scroll Journal, History Extra?
Yeah, World Journal's fine.
Okay. So the claim that Charles Darwin converted to Christianity and renounced evolution on his deathbed is false. This popular urban legend has been completely debunked by historians, biographers, and Darwin's own family who were by his side when he died. The myth originated in 1915 from an article in the Watchman Examiner featuring a story by an evangelical speaker named Lady Hope. She claimed she visited Darwin shortly before his death in 1882, and that he expressed regret over his theory and wished to teach people about Christ. Historians and Darwin's family have thoroughly discredited this account based on the following facts. First, family denial. Darwin's children, particularly his daughter Henrietta, who nursed him during his final illness, completely denied Lady Hope's account. They confirmed she was not present at his deathbed and had no influence on him. 2. No renunciation. In his writings and later life correspondence, Darwin maintained an agnostic worldview. He never recanted his evolutionary theories. 3. Factual errors in the story. Lady Hope claimed the interview took place in Darwin's summer house, which was far too small to hold the gathering she described. Additionally, Darwin was never bedridden for the months she claimed. So, not only was she not there, she lied about where it was.
Literally, you said it was too small to hold all the people. It never said that he wasn't there, unless I missed it.
No. Lady Hope wasn't there during the months that she claimed that she was.
And you said it was too small to hold all the people.
So Lady Hope claimed that there was a large gathering that took place at this conversion, this confession of his.
Yeah, it doesn't mean...
But the place where he was too small to hold such a large gathering, apparently. And by the way... The source for this claim comes from creation.com. Creation.com disagrees with you.
Yeah, who's creation.com?
A Christian website.
You know it's Christian?
Yeah, they're called Creation Ministries International.
Okay, look up and see Creation Ministries International.
Yeah, okay, so for over 46 years, Creation Ministries International has supported the worldwide church in proclaiming the truth of the Bible and the gospel. We provide real-world answers to the most asked questions on the vital topics of origin where the Bible is most under attack today. Genesis. Catholics. What we believe. Our vision to see the Lord Jesus Christ honored as creator. And they're obviously Christian. Don't be dumb.
Catholics are Christian?
What are you talking? Well, A, yes, they are. B, this is not a Catholic organization.
Catholics are not Christians, dude.
Obviously, they are the first Christians.
No, the apostles were. The Romans later stole it when their paganism.
Catholicism was the first Christian denomination, if you want to call it a denomination.
And Jesus wasn't about institutions.
Then why did he make, Peter the first pope?
Upon this rock I will build my church. The word for a church in Greek is ekklesia.
Yeah.
Ekklesia means a gathering of people.
Mm-hmm.
Not
do you think
walls,
an institution is a building or a group of people?
Oh, they made an institution, the Catholics have.
What do you think a gathering of people is? Is that an institution?
I call it a gathering.
Do you think that in order to be an institution, it needs, like, a building?
To be an institution, you don't include outsiders. That was the whole purpose of it.
That's not true. That's not what an institution is.
Really?
Yeah.
They welcomed everybody.
It doesn't make it not an institution. Are you just trying to, like, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge to, like, get out of the fact that even your own Christian brethren disagree with you about Darwin converting on his deathbed?
They're not my brethren, dude.
They believe in that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior.
They also baptize children, which is never taught in the Bible. They also pray to Mary.
How do you know? You don't even know who they are.
Blasphemy. No, I have buddies that are Catholic.
Nowhere on this website does it say that they're Catholic.
Worldview.
Okay, let's go to worldview.
Catholicism is the biggest global spread of Christianity.
What worldview? Where does it say worldview on their website?
When you read the actual synopsis, it said something about worldwide.
Do you think that you're not supposed to spread the gospel worldwide?
No, you are. God used that.
Okay, so it says, for over 46 years, Creation Ministries International has supported the worldwide church in proclaiming the truth of the Bible and the gospel. So you think that means that they're Catholic? Because they're not Catholic. You're just, honestly, you're coping.
What is the
At this point, you're coping. Whatever church, it's Creation Ministries International. That's the name of their church.
I'm coping because I'm calling out people.
There's to be clear, there's no evidence that this is a Catholic organization. So you're just, like, coping at this point.
Well, type it in.
I'm actually curious if they say anything about the Pope on their website. So they have an article called A Review of Popes and Unicorns. They have an article written by a guy named Cody Pope, a guy named Shane Pope. They don't appeal to popes at all. They don't have any articles about the Pope, about any popes.
Oh my gosh.
So no, they're not Catholic, my guy. Stop coping.
Stop coping?
Yeah.
You never provided one positive piece of information to back your claim that they're not
You never
Catholic.
provided one positive piece of information to back the claim that they're Catholic.
I asked you to look.
I looked. They don't say any. They don't say anywhere that they're Catholic. They don't say anywhere that anything about the Pope. What else do you want me to? How else would I figure out that they're not Catholic?
Type in the name of the institution. Are they Catholic?
Okay, let's find out.
I don't know if they are or they aren't.
Well, you shouldn't have said. You shouldn't have been so certain that they are then. Just 2 minutes ago.
When I heard global, that's the only institution of religion that is global.
Creation Ministries International is an evangelical Protestant organization that promotes young Earth creationism. They're not Catholic.
There you go. Okay.
And so even your brethren disagree with you about Darwin converting on his deathbed.
Okay, one person made a positive claim and nobody provided any substantial evidence to disclaim it.
No, in fact, we saw exactly what the substantial evidence was that disproved the claim by Lady Hope.
People said
The family that was there.
How long was Darwin on his deathbed?
Well, depends on what you count the deathbed. I mean, he was ill for a long time, but is the deathbed the day before he dies? Like, what? When does it count?
Like did hospice exist then?
No.
Okay, so when the family would leave,
his family was with him
24/7.
Likely, yeah. Like his wife, like his children, they would be staying at his house.
To make a positive claim on that.
So why do you believe the random claim of Lady Hope rather than the claims of the family members?
Because Charles Darwin was studying to be a Christian missionary abroad before his father died.
Yeah, and then he went on an expedition, and then he lived another 50 years. Views can change over 50 years.
Agnostic, not atheist.
I never made the claim that he was atheist. You made the claim that he was Christian. You said that there were many autobiographies that said he converted on his deathbed. Now, one, there are no autobiographies that say that. Two, there is exactly one story written by a woman named Lady Hope who didn't know him personally, like literature. In his earlier life. And so, like, this is there. It's not even a biography. It's a story reported in a newspaper that was debunked by his family members.
So, what would be the point?
And historians.
Like, why would they go interview that person?
No, she published the story to them, right?
Okay. And when people are dying...
She was an evangelical speaker. That's why she wanted to do this.
When people are dying, do priests and other people go visit them?
She wasn't a priest.
She's an evangelical.
An evangelical speaker. Evangelical is her religious affiliation. Speaker is her occupation. Word.
So if somebody's dying, would they not go visit?
Apparently not in this case.
That community, because every person, every family I know.
So literally, historians, biographers, and Darwin's own family all disagree with you. I don't know why you're dying on this hill.
Because they weren't there 24/7.
Prove it.
Well, you're saying that they weren't. They were always there. Prove it.
It's reasonable to think that his wife would have been there the whole time.
It's reasonable.
Right? Who lives with it? The person who lives with him would have been in the same house as him. Yeah, that's what it means to, live with somebody.
Leave to go shopping to get stuff, get
They were quite wealthy. Do you think that in the late 1800s they went to the grocery store?
Darwin was very independent.
When he was on his deathbed?
Even all through life.
I don't think you know anything about Darwin.
He was studying to be a missionary, dude.
That sounds like that's the only thing you know about Darwin. Why is it that even your own Christian brethren are telling you that you're wrong and you're rejecting that? It seems like you heard this from one preacher, from one pastor, and you're just like shutting your brain to all external information after that.
Because I call out my own brethren too, that are quote unquote my brethren.
Do you know Answers in Genesis?
Do I know what?
Answers in Genesis. Are you familiar with that organization?
No.
They're a creationist organization. They also say that, yeah, Darwin also didn't convert on his deathbed.
It's kind of like somebody posts something online and people run with it.
Makes that claim. The Institute for Creation Research makes that claim. Everybody, even Christians, even devout evangelical Christians, agree
it's
that
like
Darwin didn't convert on his deathbed.
5 times and the media ran with it.
You are incapable of evaluating data, aren't you?
No, it's called a comparative analysis. I have free
Okay, so what data do you have to prove that Lady Hope's claims are true?
Well,
what's the evidence?
There's people that disclaim it. There's people that don't. So we'll leave it.
No, there's exactly one person who claims that it's true. Lady Hope.
Okay, and there's other people that are claiming it's not.
Yeah, his family members.
Okay. All the family members were there when she didn't visit.
How do you know that she visited?
That's the point.
Wait, so what's your evidence that she visited at all?
She made a positive claim. You can't disprove a positive claim with no evidence.
Wait, no. If you're going to make a positive claim, you have to provide evidence that it happened.
She said it did.
Okay. Why should we believe her?
Positive claim.
Why should we believe her?
Why should we believe them?
She's the one making the positive claim, so she has to provide the evidence. Or if you're going to defend the positive claim, you have to provide the evidence.
Did she recant it publicly?
No, that's not evidence. That's not evidence is true.
Scrutiny of being called a liar publicly.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when she was called a liar.
Evangelical minister.
Yeah.
And she stood on what she said.
Sure. So did Darwin's family, by the way. So that evidence works both ways.
Yeah, but one is biased in nature. One isn't.
Darwin's family is biased in nature, not the evangelical speaker.
No, and the fact that they had a
interested in debunking evolution.
Dude, evolution is one of the dumbest theories on the planet.
It makes sense considering that you haven't evolved beyond the knuckle dragging status, but you know, we can get past that.
Okay, scientific theory is fact, dumbass.
I mean, you agreed that the cell theory is a fact. It's just weird that you're simping for a woman that you didn't even know the name of.
Well, it's weird you're simping for a bunch of Christian family members. Look how desperate you are.
I don't discount people's beliefs solely, or people's claims solely based off of their beliefs.
What you want to be fact. I'm
consistent. No, I look towards the evidence.
No, you discredit Christian evidence.
This isn't Christian evidence. Even Christians don't think it's evidence.
Like, you literally.
Even Christians don't think it's evidence. It's not Christian evidence. This is a conspiracy theory. It's a hoax, in fact.
Is it in the middle?
Is what in the middle?
That she neither yea or nay visited.
No, historians, biographers, and the family members have fully discredited this idea.
Oh, okay. So once again, you're going based off faith in Christians. Gotcha.
Well, I don't care. I don't care who's making the good evidentiary claims. If the evidence is good, the evidence is good. I don't care who makes it.
No, but the book isn't good. The ways I describe it isn't good.
I mean, generally, no. No, it's not. It's not good in the sense that evidence is good, certainly.
Is the Earth being 500 million years old fact?
No.
So how many years has it been proven?
Sorry, how many years has what been proven? How long the Earth has existed?
Established civilization, human existence.
Well, Earth has existed for roughly 4.5 billion years.
And you made that as a positive claim.
Yeah, and I can give you the evidence for it.
Okay, do it without a scientific model or a theory. Go.
So you want me to give you evidence without science?
See, that's the point.
So you want me to not use the thing that provides evidence for empirical claims?
Isn't that interesting? I'm being subjective about my choices against your institution when you just did the same.
Science isn't an institution, it's a method. It's a thought process.
Oh my God.
I understand that you're confused, though.
Confused on what?
What science is?
It's an attempt at understanding God's creation when they never will.
No, that's not what science is.
Really?
Yeah. Science is a way of thinking. It is a method of evaluating empirical data to either confirm or either to validate or reject hypotheses.
And what are hypotheses?
A hypothesis is a proposed solution or a proposed explanation for some observable physical phenomena.
Okay, so an attempt at explaining, not in fact.
Well, a hypothesis is not a fact.
And your guys' facts.
You test hypotheses in order to gain credence that those hypotheses are facts.
So when you see hypothesis or theory being called
hypothesis and theory are not the same thing. English is your first language, right?
What the fuck are you talking about?
English is your first language?
Theory and hypothesis are both ideological constructs.
Is English your first language?
Answer the question.
Because I don't want to talk down to you if like this is your second language, because like, you know, if it's your second language, then I can understand that there might be miscommunication happening.
I know. Move past the goalpost. Are they not ideological constructs?
No, they're obviously not.
Hypothesis and theory.
They're not ideological constructs, no.
Oh my gosh. This is literally what supposedly sends rockets into space for billions of dollars.
No, it's not literally what sends rockets into space for billions of dollars. This is a conversation. This is literally a conversation.
I know.
It is analogous to what sends rockets into space, perhaps, but not literally.
You're proposing idea as fact.
You understand that ideas can be facts? Like there's an idea.
Proven irrefutably.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you done that yet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's a reason why evolution and gravity are taught in schools and your Iron Age stories are not.
I believe I come from an all-being, all-knowing, all-powerful, omniscient thing. Okay? And you believe you come from a shit-throwing monkey. And you are my superior.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not.
I mean, like intellectually, sure I am.
No.
Like morally, or in terms of like the value of the human life, like no, we're equals. But intellectually, I am, yeah. And like usually, I wouldn't say that, but at this point in the debate, I'm pretty certain that that's the case.
No, you're not. The same way you believe a theory is fact, you definitely are not smarter than me.
What shape do you think the Earth is?
Let's see. Definitely not a sphere.
Yep. Okay, I knew it. I knew that I was intellectually superior to you.
Now watch this. Prove to me you can spin a basketball as fast as you can and get water to stick to it. Go.
You mean spin it as fast as Earth is spinning?
Go.
I don't own a basketball. Do you want me to like go to the store and buy one for you for your demonstration?
What happens when you go to the carnival and you get on that ride that spins? You get thrown to the side.
Spins at the same speed that the Earth spins?
Oh no, it would be you'd be crushed against the side.
How fast do you think the Earth spins?
I don't know. What's your theoretical number?
1 rotation per day, dumbass.
No, what's the miles per hour, dumbass?
1 rotation speeds are not in miles per hour.
Okay, what's revolution per day? What's RPD?
1 rotation per day. You can work it out. It's like 0.000694 RPM or something like that.
What is the equivalent speed?
There isn't one.
Oh, so
rotational speeds are not equivalent to translational speeds.
So I believe in a theory of rotational speed. I believe in a theory of how old the Earth is, a theory of gravity, a theory.
Cool. I don't know why I don't know who you're talking about, but like I recognize that like gravity is a fact, that the Earth being a sphere is a fact, that the Earth being 4.5 billion years old is a fact. These are all facts.
Like I can observe all these things in humanity, and you disavow them, and I'm the dumbass.
What things in humanity? Yeah, you are.
Okay.
I'm glad we agree. Anything else? Weird thoughts?
Oh no, you can go ahead and kick me. You proved exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Have a good one. What a crazy crash out. I mean, honestly, you know, the thing is it wasn't even really a crash out. It was just one long continuous. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. It wasn't really a crash out in the traditional sense. That was crazy. All right, let's read some super chats, then we'll bring up our next guest. From Lycon with the 500 Japanese yen, how would you steelman the position of the universe being a giant Turing machine equivalent? How would I steelman that? I don't even really fully understand the position. It doesn't even seem like I don't know what it would mean for the universe to be a Turing machine equivalent. From Chase Martin with the $2, sun denial is a new one for me. Well, I figured he was a flat earther for a good while. We have £2 from Christopher Sanford. A head ran away from the game. How predictable. Yeah, I mean, like he was pivoting as much as he could. From Dr. Fudge with the $10, another example of a guy who's mad that there are people smarter than him and needs to completely distort reality around his own ego until he feels superior to all those stupid smart people. So look, I'm not usually the one to say like I'm more intelligent than somebody, because like I think that intelligence is A, really hard to measure, and B, really multivariate, and C, you know, it's just not a good look to like be arrogant or be, you know, cocky, right? But in his case, I think that it's probably just true. Like he also didn't seem to be particularly emotionally intelligent either. So from Neon Legend with the $5, can you please type harder, please? I'm trying to visualize what you're typing on the keyboard. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do my best. From Shag though with the $2, where are all the cures and inventions in your book? There are none. From Eat Some Shorts Triple Shot, that double wordplay broke his brain so bad there was no head to even whoosh over. Clip this pose. Oh yeah, I know, he's going on YouTube, don't worry. From Matt Lloyd with the £20, hope you're still well, Dr. Blitz. Still laughing at Cheek Sniffer from yesterday, not the man, but the name, it was so funny. Also, pointless information, I was born in the same town as Charles Darwin and have visited his house. That's neat. That's really cool. From Pat in the chat with the $5, did I hear the caller right? He studied journalism in college and doesn't trust Reuters as a source? Yeah, that's the problem, right? He doesn't trust anything except his book. From Veronica Cromit with the $5, even the scientists that did believe in God had such a different idea of God that this guy wouldn't even recognize it, wouldn't even understand it. Yeah, I know. Like, we just fought on Darwin for a while because it was a crazy thing to claim, right? From with the Arab Emirate Durham's, I think. Can you show biggest scientific error in the Bible? I mean, like Genesis 1 has like half a dozen. From Dr. Fudge with the $5, given the facts, the only way the claim of Lady Hope can be salvaged is if she broke into his house while the family weren't paying attention, right? Like, it's just a crazy claim. And, like, obviously people would do that kind of thing. Obviously people would try to, like, fake that stuff because Darwin was a big deal. From Geraint with the $2. This is grade A brain rot. Wow. Yep. This is what your education system is paying for. From Dragonflyers with the $2. I was at Napoleon's deathbed. Source, trust me, bro. Oh, true. True. From Garbagaman with the $5, 5 Canuck bucks. My grandpa showed up after Lady Hope and reconverted him to atheism. Indeed, my great-grandpa did too. And from Philo Dragon with the $10 last super chat for now. You're childish, but I believe in the Santa Claus for adults. Yeah, it's more than just the Santa Claus. He believes there's a whole factory at the North Pole. I forgot I'm supposed to dab when I sneeze. Really a bummer. And last one from with the 729 Arab Emirate Darabs, or what are the errors in Genesis? Well, that plants came before the sun. The kind of obvious one. All right, let's bring up our next guest. I think that this person's name is Sunburst.
Hello.
Hello, Sunburst. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm sick
Glad to hear
right
it.
now.
Sunburst, do you believe in a god?
Yeah, I converted back to Christianity about 3 weeks ago after a decade of atheism, and that's honest.
Okay. Yeah, so why should I mean, like, you must have had a pretty good reason, so why should I believe in the god that you believe in, the Christian god?
I don't know about should, but for me, I was studying the axioms of logic and the assumptions that our brains make to try to understand reality. I found it to be circulatory, and so I reverted back to all that I have left, which is... Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, so I don't see how, like maybe...
So I gave up on the methodology of logic. I don't find it to be... I don't find it to be a good way to get to truth. I don't even know or believe
you don't think logic. You don't think logic is a good way to figure out what's true about the world?
Not if it starts with presuppositions that can't be demonstrated. That must be
like what?
Assumed.
Like what?
Like the law of identity: A is A and A is not A.
Why is that a? Why is that a
presupposition? It assumes separation. It assumes division.
It assumes that division exists. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily. It doesn't really assume that. If there's no division,
does
then it's just the
Aristotle's
case.
distinction not require division?
Does Aristotle's distinction? I don't know what you're referring to when you say distinction. I mean, like the law of identity is just that a thing is itself, or more precisely, that some sort of expression is itself.
A thing can't be itself unless it's in comparison to not self.
No, it doesn't require comparison. Like, for example, if your universe of discourse is merely just the object A, then the law of identity just says that A is A. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't require that there's other objects in the universe of discourse.
If there's not a not A, then it can't not be not A, correct?
There's not a not A, then it can't not be not A. No, it's certainly still not A, especially if not A isn't there.
So then there's implying that there's a not A.
No, it doesn't imply that.
How does it not? You have nothing.
So if you have a universe of discourse that only contains within it A, the law of identity still applies to it, even though there's only one thing in it.
Yeah, but how are you identifying it if there's nothing to compare it to?
The law of identity is it's not. The law of identity is not about identifying a thing. It's just about saying that a thing is itself. It's not. It's not. It is itself. No, that's not. No, that's not what the law of identity is about. The law of identity is not, it is one thing as opposed to something else. It's just saying that it is one thing. It doesn't say anything about not being something else. That's not what the law of identity is about.
If there was only one thing in this universe, like this mental thing we're doing, then how would you identify it?
It would still be itself, regardless of whether or not, regardless of what it's not.
How would you identify it?
I don't know what you mean by how would you identify it. The point. Sorry,
I'm
sorry. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec.
Entity.
There's like something ringing in my house, and I have to go figure it out. 1 sec. It's really annoying.
Take your time, brother.
Sorry about that. Somebody left the freezer open and it started beeping because it was annoyed. Anyway, yeah, so the point is the law of identity is merely about, it's merely a statement that a thing is itself. It's not a statement about what a thing isn't. It's just a relation between a thing and itself. It's not a relation between a thing and anything else.
A thing in itself, a relation
a thing
between
and
it?
itself. Yeah, it's a relation between a thing and itself.
Okay, and so if you only have one thing in this reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what would you identify it as?
Whatever it is. If it's A, it's A. If it's the
How
number
do you
6,
find
it's the number
out what
6.
something is?
How do you find out what something is?
Yeah, especially
in the universe of
where there's only one
discourse,
thing.
like it depends on like what the context is of this thing. Are we talking
The
about
po-
like
the
a set?
point
Are we
is
talking
is
about
that
like
the
a
only
set
way you
theoretic
find out what
context? Are we
something
talking
is
about like a? Are we talking about a set theoretic context? Are we talking about an arithmetic context? Are we talking about some
The
sort of
point is
ontological
that if you're trying to
context?
find out what something is, you have to compare it to something else. Especially,
Okay.
especially,
I don't. To be clear,
that assumes
the
division.
law of identity is not about figuring out what something is. That's like an epistemological claim. That logic has nothing to do with that.
Wait, the law of identity isn't about figuring out what something is?
No.
No, it's about isness. It's about.
It's just a statement that a thing is itself. That you can apply the equality relation to a thing and itself. That's all it is.
I'm confused, honestly.
I understand that. Look, so the law of identity is not. It's not deep. It's not like, well, you can identify a thing. Like, it's not deep. It's just that we use this notion of equality or this notion of identity when we're talking about, like, when we're making formal claims logically. When we say that, like, for example, if I say that, what would be a good example? If I say that Clark Kent is Superman and Superman is a superhero, the law of identity just means that I'm allowed to use. It just means that, for example, Clark Kent is the same thing as Superman. Or actually, the law of identity doesn't apply, or the law of identity kind of implies it because of the transitivity, but it doesn't directly say it. The point is that we can use the law of identity to make substitutions.
Okay.
It's just that a thing is itself. It's like this is not a deep fact.
A thing is itself, yeah, but in comparison to
Clark
what?
Kent is Clark Kent. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so then there's no other being that could be Clark Kent, right?
No,
like,
it doesn't actually mean that. It doesn't imply that.
Okay, can Clark Kent ever be not Clark Kent?
Could Clark Kent ever not? I mean, like, in some sense, like,
can A ever be not A?
In the same sense of A, you would have to use the law of excluded middle and the law of, well, you'd have to use the law of non-contradiction and the law of excluded middle if you wanted to get that.
Would you agree that the axioms of logic are presupposed?
Presupposed for what? Presupposed in what? Logic is a
that
system of thinking.
Yeah,
logic is a system of thinking. It's not the only system. It's not the only system of thinking.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, but
so it's not. They're not presupposed. It's just like a method. It's like saying that like
Aristotle disagrees with you.
Okay, Aristotle lived 2,000 years ago, or philosophy has progressed since then.
And his classic logic has been running for like 2,000 years.
Philosophy has progressed since then. So
I totally understand.
It's a system of thinking, right? And so it turns out that it's probably the kind of system of thinking that agents use. At least that's my position about what logic is. But it's not a thing that's presupposed. It's not like laws that are presupposed about the universe. This is not some.
No, I didn't say that they were.
Okay, so then what's the issue? This is just like a way. This is just like a way of formalizing speaking or formalizing thinking, rather.
Aristotle's position was that because the usage of this way of thinking was what did he say? He said it basically it was a given. Like the reason why the justification Aristotle used for the axioms of logic presupposed is that that's just the things that the brain assumes for it to even attempt to understand reality.
I think that's probably generally true. There are cases where you don't want to use the classical laws of logic, where, for example, you might want to use more fuzzy versions of logic. You might want to use Schrodinger logics. There are other versions of logic that are applicable in other scenarios. So
I think for the reason why I changed back to believing in God was because about 3 weeks ago I had realized that my philosophical position was monism. So
okay, you can be a monist and be an atheist.
True. That is true.
So how do you get to God existing? Like, how do you come to that conclusion?
Well, honestly, the baggage of the historicity of the word God doesn't do me very well. But I would say that.
What is happening?
Good morning. Good morning, America.
What just happened? Is that like an... Okay, so I think the TikTok app updated because it just played that. Like, it wanted me to confirm that I'm still alive and be like, oh, we sense an activity or whatever. Anyway, so... Okay, so what got you back to Christianity from atheism?
I did find, you know, the methodologies that we use to get us closer to the truth. I'm not convinced that objective truth is attainable.
Okay, so but how does that get you to Christianity?
Well, I would say I'm a follower of Christ, but I wouldn't say that I'm a Christian.
That's what a Christian is.
Again, most Christians would say that that's not what a Christian is. But yeah, you know, so many different sects of Christianity go, this is what makes you a Christian. This is what makes you a Christian. So yeah, I do subscribe to the position that if you're following Christ, you're a Christian. But a lot of modern Christians.
So look, so you could be skeptical of like logic. You could have like a different take on like metalogics and things like, or on you could have like a different metalogical take or something like this. I don't see how this gets you to Christianity, or even to a God for that matter.
It doesn't. I'm not saying it gets you to Christianity. I'm just saying once I found that.
So then, what got you to God existing? To that position.
Well, I'm not saying that I know he does. I mean,
what got you to the position of believing that God exists?
I found that it's all my personal experience, and yeah, it's all I have. So, you know, it's like I don't think we have a sound methodology to approach objective truth, and so all we have left is our hope and our faith and our belief.
You don't think we have a sound epistemology or a sound methodology to get to truth? And so you're just like, well, may as well believe that there's a God.
Sure. Huh?
So you were like, well, we can't know anything for certain, so may as well believe in God.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Can I just impart you with one thing before I go? Because I'm really not trying to, you know, confuse you.
I really want to understand how you go from, we can't know anything for certain, therefore I believe a God exists. Those two things seem completely unrelated.
I got you. And here's one of the things that I noticed when I self-reflected after I switched back to theism, right?
Well, I'm not interested in what happens after you switch back to theism. I want to know how you went from atheism to theism.
I understand, but can I just give you this one event that occurred when I was self-reflecting?
It doesn't really matter to me.
It should, honestly. So this is what I realized is, looking back on all the times I was entering debate spaces and studying logic and studying metaphysics in an attempt to bolster my position against theism, I found that if I don't have a sound methodology of approaching objective truth, and maybe nobody might, then when I'm in debate spaces trying to reason people away from God, all I'm doing is, in this cold world where a bunch of suffering happens, all I'm doing is trying to decimate people's last hope, even if they can't demonstrate.
Okay, so why did you go from being atheist to theist? What was that process like?
Because I found that I had no methodology to approach objective truth, so I went with my hope and my faith.
So you just so it's just vibes?
I mean, what do you have a sound methodology to approach objective truth?
I'm a pluralist about truth. I think that there's a bunch of different ways that we use the word truth, and I think it refers to a bunch of different things in different contexts.
Well, that's why I specifically said objective truth.
I don't think that there is such a thing as like objective truth. Now there can be facts about the world, and those would be empirical statements, and so I think that we can come to truth about empirical statements by using observations and using empirical processes.
We have to clarify for the audience that a fact in science isn't used as a truth, even though colloquially that's how people use it. It just means observation.
I'm not saying a fact as an observation. I'm saying a fact of the world, meaning a state of affairs, a way the world actually is.
I'm saying science considers the word fact to be observation.
I'm not using it in a scientific context.
So are you using colloquially to substitute fact for truth? You're saying fact means truth.
I'm using it in the philosophical sense of a feature of the actual world, the actual state of affairs.
Okay, so then how do we know that we're experiencing any features of the actual world?
Deep breaths.
What's the one factor that takes you from the position of something?
So we use empirical methods to learn about the world around us with high confidence. We use mathematical methods.
It's a good way of dodging saying you can't approach truth.
Look, if you think that truth only happens, well, to be clear, I think that truth is probably...
I don't believe in objective truth, just like you don't believe in objective truth.
I don't even know what you mean by objective truth.
You just said I don't believe in it like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, so when you say that you don't believe in it, I think that that's probably referring to something that I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm saying I don't believe knowing the ontological, like, as what is, regardless of.
So then how does that get you to a God?
Like I said, if I can't get to objective truth, all I have left is my faith and hope. If I can't get to a position which I can understand reality ontologically,
do you think that faith and hope is more likely to get you to objective truth? And I'm not saying it's guaranteed to. I'm asking more likely.
No, I don't think it is, and I don't think faith and hope should be used as an attempt to approach truth. And I think any Christian or any theist who says it is just as wrong as the person saying that logic.
So it's what it sounds like you're telling me is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to be uncharitable here. It sounds like what you're telling me is that you have literally no reason to believe the thing that you believe in. Because you don't think that reasons exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we are in disagreement there. I think that reasons do exist, in which case I don't think that you having no reason will be able to provide me a reason to think that
so then I guess my question would be to you is how do you know reason exists?
Well, look, like this is a as far as I'm concerned, it's a fundamental aspect of being an agent that we consider reasons. And so if you want to change that very fundamental position of mine, you'll have to provide a good argument.
I'm not
perhaps
trying to
a reason. Perhaps a reason that reasons don't exist.
I'm not trying to change your position. Answer this question directly if you can, okay?
Sure.
What's the one factor that takes you from a position of saying I believe something to saying I know it?
Confidence and a link between the method of deriving that confidence and the actual thing itself. Sorry?
Yeah, no, I'm saying in your method, what is the thing that leads you from the position of saying I believe
in your method? So the method, I mean, it depends on what kind of thing we're talking about. It depends on the kind of thing that we're talking about. If I think something is true mathematically,
any true claim.
If I think that okay, yeah, sure. So if I think something is true mathematically, the way that I can come to a conclusion, the way that I can know that something is true mathematically is by expressing a proof.
Okay. So that means you know, as in that means you know it to be true ontologically as it is.
Yeah, well, abstractly, because mathematics is abstract.
Well, there we go.
And
then we slip those words in.
What are you talking about?
Abstraction.
What? We just have different views of what mathematics is. That's all. So I was just informing you of what my view thinks of mathematics as being. Oh, he ran. Bummer. Well, not bummer. That was actually kind of miserable. All right, let's read some super chats and we'll bring up our next guest. From Lycon with the 1,000 yen. A Turing machine equivalent is a model that solves the same problems of a Turing machine that I know, e.g. your computer, if it infinite memory, where infinite just means as much as needed for any finite problem. Such models can be fairly simple. I'm aware. I just don't know what it means for the universe to be such a thing. Sorry, one sec. Can be fairly simple. So how about the possibility that the universe is configured in a way to allows very slow computation? Speed is irrelevant given infinite time. Well, look, so in some sense, basically anything can be a computer. Maybe not Turing complete, but basically anything can be a computer if you have something interpreting the inputs and outputs appropriately, right? But I don't think it's the case, because that would mean that it's configured. Intentionally configured with like some interpretation given to the inputs and outputs, which would imply a creator, so I don't think that's the case. From Tim Davidson with the $5. If there's one item in the universe, it would be the thing. It, that, there, all of it, everything. Yeah, there you go. From Quantum Tap with the $2 Australian. Extraordinary claim requires extraordinary evidence. What would convince? From between Quran and Bible, which is worse scientifically? Well, the Quran's shorter, so it's going to make fewer mistakes, but it does make a lot of mistakes. The Bible is longer. I feel like the density of mistakes is probably higher in the Quran, but the Christian Bible probably has overall more mistakes. From Porcelain Heart Archive with the €6, sorry. How do you manage your mental health when talking to these people? Just listening makes me lose hope in humanity. It doesn't really affect me that way. From Chatter Cheese with the $10, great showing on the Raging Tomato debate last night. It was supremely entertaining until Clay started crashing out because nobody was buying his BS. Late Night Blitz was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Quantum Tap. I don't think you got skipped. I'm sorry. One sec. I read yours, didn't I? It's not a complete sentence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. What would convince? I don't know what that means. It's. Are you asking what would convince me? If you're asking what would convince me, like, certainly if Jesus showed up in my living room and then snapped his fingers and wine poured out of the sink, then that would probably be pretty convincing, but probably something less than that would also convince me. All right, so let's move on to our next guest. Let's bring up, I feel like I've spoken to the Conscious Viking before, haven't I? Let's talk to Lenzus Planus. This sounds Latin.
Hello.
Lenzus Planus.
What's up?
How's it going?
I'm doing you.
I'm doing all right. Planus, do you believe in a god?
Yes.
Okay, I don't. Why should I believe in the god that you believe in?
No, I'm not trying to like convince you that you should believe in a god. What I want to say is like that you should be more optimistic to it, because so you're an atheist, right? Like not agnostic to it.
Yeah,
So
I think that it's false that a god exists. But to be clear, the prompt is, can you convince me to believe in your god? But if you're not interested in that, then I don't know what we're doing.
No, I want to ask you. So you're 100% certain that
Nope.
a god does not. So why are you so certain?
Because, well, I'm not certain. I'm confident.
Yeah, but you think it's like 100% true, but
Nope, didn't
why
say that.
so?
I don't think it's 100% to be true.
So
I recognize that I could be
say
mistaken.
okay, so you kind of like lean towards agnosticism.
If by
Like-
agnostic you mean that I recognize I could be wrong, then
Yeah.
sure. But that doesn't mean that I'm not confident that a god doesn't exist.
Okay,
Or that I'm not,
so
or that I don't believe that a god doesn't exist.
so that's contradictory because you have like 1K viewers and you like, I don't know, lying to
Something-
your viewers. You're making like a bunch of money off this, like dividing people for no reason. I don't know if anyone like paid attention because all these donos that are coming in like every 10 to 15
Oh, he's
minutes.
crying because people like what they see.
No, because you're like dividing people for a living.
Dividing people? This question is
Yeah.
literally asking somebody to convince me that they're true. That's unifying.
Yeah, but
That's literally, this is
Your-
literally the opposite
but your
of dividing.
belief, it's a belief though, because you said
Yes,
it's
it
not
is a belief.
100% true.
Yes, I have beliefs. You have beliefs. We all have beliefs. People try to convince each other of their
So
beliefs all
why
the time.
should yours be true? There's no
I'm
reason.
hoping that they're not, which is why I'm asking people to convince me that I'm wrong.
Look, I'm looking forward to study physics in the
Look.
next 3 months.
Look, you don't get to stick around in Tone Police. Good luck on your journey in physics. From Shay with the $50 Cash App. That guy was insufferable. You deserve this. Well, I appreciate that, Shay. He was pretty insufferable, wasn't he? Sorry, I have to just move this over here. I don't have Venmo notification set up, I don't think. So I just gotta make sure I keep looking at my email. All right, let us... Oh, no, we have one more super chat from Simeon Urchin. Here's part of your NASA shill paycheck. I appreciate it, Simeon Urchin. It's very generous. All right, let's bring up Guy Jones. Looks like Guy Jones doesn't want to come up. All right, let's bring up a guest from Discord, Afzal. Actually, haven't we spoken with Afzal recently? Yeah, we've spoken with Afzal recently. We spoke with Dr. Puppy recently. Oh, is this the... Oh, we spoke with Felix recently. Okay, let's bring up Ryenstein. Ryenstein, how's it going?
Hey, how is it doing?
I'm doing all right. Ryenstein, do you believe in a god?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so look, I don't, as I hope is obvious. Why should I believe in the God that you believe in?
So, first of all, the main thing is something can't come from nothing, right? It has to be created.
Sure, I'm happy to agree with that. Well, I'm not happy to agree with the created part, but I'm happy to agree that things don't come from nothing.
Yeah, so it's kind of having faith that there was a creator and there was a designer that's always existed. You know,
why wouldn't we just think that the universe always existed?
That's a good point, but the way that God is, in my head, is he sort of exists outside of the parameters of like time and space and the universe within itself. He's not. Does that make sense? He's not.
Well, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but like, look, if we're just if we're gonna recognize that, like, you know, nothing can come from, or everything has to, in some sense, come from something. It just seems to make sense that like all of the stuff in the universe would have just come from stuff in the universe back and back forever, and so you just end up with a universe that always exists.
Yes, but I think he exists outside of the universe.
Right, but why would you think that there's a God at all, rather than just like, look, so it sounds like in your view, you think that the universe didn't always exist, but you think that the God did always exist, and the God that always existed is the cause of the universe. But like, it seems like we're just, you know, we're just adding on an additional thing. If we have to believe that something always existed, why not just think that it's the universe that always existed?
Because I believe the universe hasn't always existed.
Why?
Because God created the universe.
Okay, but
because he exists,
you see how that's circular?
The material. He's outside.
But you see how that's circular, right?
Yeah, I can understand what the logic is there.
So then how do we get, if it's a circle, if you say that you believe God exists because something can't come from nothing and the universe had a beginning, and then you believe the universe had a beginning because you believe God created it.
Yes.
That's just a full circle.
Well, no, the Big Bang theory, that is basically what God created there.
But why do you think that's the beginning?
Outside of the universe, like.
Why do you think that's the beginning of like the universe?
It's because it's the beginning of space, time, and all of these.
Why do you think that?
Ingredients that. Well, why wouldn't you think that?
We don't have any evidence that that's the case, so it seems like that we should be at best agnostic about it.
As a non-committal.
Yeah, like just be like, yeah, I don't know if the Big Bang was the beginning of the universe or not.
No, I don't believe in the Big Bang. I'm just presenting the Big Bang to you as a science guy. That's probably
right,
what you believe.
Me as a science guy, I'm like, well, yeah, we don't know if the Big Bang was the beginning, so why would I use that as evidence that it was the beginning?
Right. What do you believe was the beginning? Where was the?
I don't know if there was a beginning. I don't even know if there was a beginning.
Right, so that is an agnostic mindset then, what you have, not an atheist mindset, yeah.
Well, no, to be clear, I don't think that there's a God. I also don't know if the universe had a beginning. Whether the universe had a beginning or not, I still don't think that there's a God. Even if the universe had a beginning, still don't think there's a God.
Let's say, I mean, because let me present it to you differently then. Well, could you say the thing that created this thing would be God, even if it's not like a
would
spiritual,
like just like a natural phenomenon that's physical and exists and is part of the universe count?
Yeah, does that count as God?
I would probably not, right?
No.
Right, like because then you'd be kind of be sorry.
It's an interesting thought, though.
I don't know. Like, it seems like if that's the position, then you'd be obligated to think that, like, the galaxy that created the Earth is a god or something like that, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it seems like if you do that, then what you call a god becomes so watered down that it doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Yes, but I think I th- it's difficult to imagine all this just popped into existence from nothing with no architect. It's all just too perfect.
Well, but why is that the only other option?
I mean, it requires, so for me to believe that requires a certain faith, right?
No, why is that the only other option? It's not like either there's a god or the universe popped into existence from nothing. That's not those aren't the only two options.
Well, something either exists or it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It's quite binary. There's no tertiary thing there, or it's not.
But so if the universe didn't, so suppose that it's not like if there's no God, it could be that the universe has always existed, in which case it never popped into existence.
Yes.
So it's not like either God or popped into existence out of nothing. Those aren't the only two options.
But I think what I'm saying is what we understand as, you know, the bubble we live in now, the universe. Like, has it always existed along with God, or was it just
well?
popped
It
into
might be that the universe as a whole. Now, I'm not talking about the observable universe. The observable universe is, on the grand scheme of things, probably quite small. And the observable universe was very, very different 13.8 billion years ago. There were no stars or galaxies. And, you know, maybe the observable universe is just one bubble in many. But whatever it is, whatever the universe as a whole is, that thing could have always existed.
Yeah, so it sounds like your understanding is that it can't be proved.
I think it can be. I just don't think that you can. I think it can be. I just don't think that you have to use this whether or not the universe had a beginning kind of business to figure out whether there's a God. I think it's kind of a red herring. Because whether or not the universe had a beginning, you can still describe it completely without it. Like, you can still have a full account of it without a God.
Yes, because it's here now. We can touch it, see it. And
well, no, I mean, like, you can still give a full accounting of, like, how it's here without a God. Whether it had a beginning or not.
Isn't that the theory of how the Big Bang theory? Isn't that the...
No, I mean, there are theories that go back further.
Okay, yeah. Would you like to tell
I mean, there's like over a dozen of them.
Okay.
Now, we don't know which, if any, are correct, but there are plenty of accounts. Thank you for the level ship, Amir.
From like, I don't know, trusted experts in science and, you know,
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Okay. So they're well established.
Yeah, you can find them all in this book. In fact, it's not even all of them. This is just like a collection of 25 kind of conceptually important ones. This book, it's basically just like a book of what are all of the historical scientific explanation, or all of the scientific explanations for what caused the Big Bang. And it lists 25 of them that have been discussed in, you know, fairly recent history in like the last 50 years or so. And it explains, you know, what each one would need to have evidence, and, you know, what the support is for one, why you would think that one is true rather than another, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of accounts, and some of those accounts... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
You're fine.
I was going to say, if the universe, so if it had a definitive beginning point that we say, let's just say it's one of these theories, the start of one of these theories, and so the first law of thermodynamics is something can't appear from nothing. Is it like energy can only be transferred? Is
not
that
the first law of thermodynamics? The first law of thermodynamics states that in a closed system, the energy of the change in energy of the system is equal to the heat and work added to the system.
So it can only be transferred or manipulated.
Yeah, in a closed system. Our universe is not a closed system.
How so? I wasn't.
Well, the energy is increasing.
Oh, like the expansion of the universe.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Is that proven? The expansion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that pretty much puts a hole in the argument, and if that's the case, because my question was going to be, what's the external force sort of outside of that sort of set it off? If that makes sense. But you say the first law is only applicable in a closed system, and we live in an
A
expanding
not
one,
closed system. Yeah.
yeah, like an indefinite. Okay. So why does that make you an atheist?
That doesn't make me an atheist. I'm an atheist for entirely different reasons.
So when you say atheist, you mean you categorically don't believe in a god?
Well, I don't believe in a god. I don't know what it means to say it's categorical, but I don't believe in a god, and I'm pretty confident that my belief is correct. Now, of course, I could be wrong. Like I could be wrong about plenty of things, but that doesn't stop me from having like a confident belief.
And you have an agnostic stance on the creation of the universe because of the
because there's just a whole bunch of different options. I don't know which one's right.
Yeah, so I guess I can't prove it with logic then, with what you've established. Is there?
I'm curious. So you believe in a god? Do you like self-identify as Christian or like a follower of Christ, or you just kind of like believe in like a generic god?
I'm a follower of Christ. The Baptist denomination is probably the one I align with there.
So I think what's probably a valuable thing to do, and even if I believed in God, it certainly wouldn't be the Christian one. Like if someone convinced me that a God existed, I would still think that the Christian God is completely made up. And so like I'm curious, why, in light of all of the issues with the Christian God, and surely you're familiar with them, like why hold that position?
Sorry, say that again.
In light of all of the issues with the Christian God, why hold that position?
Which issues?
For example, the problem of evil in all of its various forms.
What's the problem with evil?
Okay, so God is all loving, right?
Yes.
God is also all powerful and all knowing.
Yep.
So
omnipotent and omnipresent and
all of these things. Yeah. So like, if I'll give you one example of the problem of evil, and there's like 100 different versions. But like, suppose that I were a loving father, right? Like of like human children, and I'm like a human loving father, right? And suppose that my occupation is I run a daycare. And I'm just giving you some background for the hypothetical. So I run a daycare, and it just happens that like my estranged cousin, or my older, like maybe I have a nephew who's older than me, who's like my age or whatever it is was recently released on like child sex trafficking charges for whatever reason. Like he got out of jail because he served like 30 years or whatever. He recently got out of jail, and so that's the context. And I'm a loving father. I send my children to the daycare, my young children to the daycare that I own, because I know I can trust my own daycare, right? I know the people that I hired. I know the people that work there. I know all of the security measures in place. I know all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm a little bit naive. Maybe there aren't any security measures in place. Maybe the people that I trusted are kind of dumb. But I have this reason to believe that it's a great place to send my kids. Now I find out from my neighbor, say, who happened to be in the area, that my estranged nephew, who was convicted on child sex trafficking charges, was seen approaching the daycare that I sent my children to, that I own. Now, I think that there's like, when I hear this information, when I hear this story, or when I hear this observation from my neighbor, I think that there's probably a few things that I could do. One, I could go there myself and then like, shove my nephew away, get him away from the daycare place. Two, I could call the cops, be like, hey, this dangerous person who I know is dangerous is approaching a place with young children. Or three, I could do nothing, right? Now, of those three options, which would you say is like the most loving thing I could do for my children that I love dearly?
or you get them out of immediate danger, sort of any means
so maybe
necessary.
maybe if the cops are responsive, then maybe I would call the cops. Otherwise, I would just go there myself, and I would like protect them, or I would go pick them up.
Well,
or
I would probably do both, actually.
I would warn somebody. Yeah, you would do something. You certainly wouldn't do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the way I see it, this is perfectly analogous to the Garden of Eden, except God did nothing. God knew that there was an ultimately evil being, like the ultimate evil being, just wandering around in the daycare that he made for Adam and Eve, his children.
Yeah.
And he did nothing about it. He just let it happen.
Well,
Tell me how that's loving.
Because it's the point of free will, isn't it? If God created human beings...
The free will of the newly created humans?
Yeah, well...
Do babies have free will?
No, hang on. So if God created us pre-programmed to always do good and always love him and worship him, right, then you know, we would just essentially be robots, right?
I don't see how free will addresses anything that I said. Look, so it doesn't matter whether or not the children have free will here. The point is I let somebody who I knew was a danger, if I'm the father in this case, who I knew was a danger to my children, go and be near my children. That's not an issue of free will. That's just child endangerment. It's worse than neglect.
What you say is God consciously put us in danger.
Yeah, he knew that there was danger because he knows everything, right? He had the power to stop it because he's ultimately powerful, but he just let it happen.
No, I think it's different because God, the serpent was temptation, right? Yeah, it's different.
I thought, was the serpent not Satan?
Yeah,
was he not actually like a guy?
Well, he tempted them, didn't he? Right?
Yeah,
so
he was like, why did God let the snake in the garden?
Yeah, so the analogy that you're using there is, you know, you're not tempting your children to be molested, are you? Does that make sense?
No, the uncle or the nephew is tempting them. The uncle is tempting them with candy. Say.
Okay.
Here, eat this candy and come get in my van. That's what Satan did.
The child doesn't know any better. So Adam and Eve didn't know any better either, right?
Yeah, they didn't, because they hadn't eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil yet.
Yeah, because so they were completely innocent.
Right. And so it's just like my young children that I left at the daycare, and then I just didn't do anything when the child sex trafficker came around. Like, nobody would say that it's a good parent if you know that your children are in danger and you don't do anything about it.
Yeah, but Adam and Eve weren't innocent, were they?
Of course they were innocent.
Well, no, because they knew what they were doing was...
No, they didn't. They hadn't eaten from the tree of good and evil yet. They were completely naive.
Not to eat. Yeah,
okay,
well,
so
they were told not to eat from...
Okay, fair point.
You don't tell your children.
So what if I had told my children in advance?
By that guy.
What if I had told my children in advance, hey, if anybody offers you candy, don't go with them. Don't take it. If I had told them that in advance, would it be okay for me to do nothing when the child sex predator came around?
Not to eat from the fruits, the forbidden tree, you know?
Yeah. Just like how. So are you telling me that if I say to my children when I drop them off at daycare, hey, if anybody comes to offer you candy, don't take it, would that be okay then if I just let the sex predator just wander in?
Children don't have the intelligence or emotional maturity to make that decision.
Adam and Eve were like a week old.
Children. You know, it's yeah, I don't see how the argument doesn't...
Adam and Eve were like a week old.
So you were saying Adam and Eve are babies?
Well, they weren't physically babies, but they had the experience of babies. They had never encountered anything like anything evil, any sort of temptation before, any sort of greed or they had encountered nothing negative in their lives.
Right,
they were like babies.
But they were told not to eat the fruit.
Right, in the same way that you tell a 5-year-old not to take candy from a stranger.
No, right, fair, but you don't tell a 5-year-old or however old, don't be molested by this guy.
Right. So the claim is that So look, the analogy here is that the candy is the fruit. God tells Adam and Eve not to eat the fruit. The parent tells the children not to eat the candy, not to take the candy. Right. The analogy works perfectly.
Is all of the evil was then washed out into the earth, and the evil in your analogy is the child ends up molested.
Yeah. Both are bad outcomes, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that God was such an irresponsible parent?
I mean, it just boils back to the free will argument, though, doesn't it?
It doesn't. The free will is irrelevant here. Whether they have free will or not, letting your children be exposed to, a candy van that's going to lead to molestation, it's irresponsible, right?
Yeah, but I don't see how the argument. I don't see how the analogy transfers. I don't. You can't convince me that
God let the snake go and tempt Adam and Eve with the candy, right? He just let them wander in.
Yeah.
He didn't have to. He could have called the cops. He could have told Gabriel, hey, see that snake over there? Go chop its head off. Or he could have gone in himself and dealt with it. But he didn't do either. He just let the snake wander in and then abduct the children.
So what you're saying is, why did he not create this perfect environment where evil doesn't exist?
No, what I'm saying is why didn't God prevent the child molester from getting into the daycare?
Yeah, well, he he wouldn't have. The snake wouldn't have been there in the first place, is what I'm saying. So everything would just be perfect anyway.
I mean, he could have made it so he could have allowed the snake to exist, but not let him into the daycare.
So send your kids to a daycare where they're not going to be
with good security.
molested.
Yeah, send the kids to a daycare with good security.
I still don't see how it.
The snake the snake was either in there from the beginning, in which case, why the hell would he make a daycare with a child molester in it? Or the snake got in, meaning that there is nobody watching the doors. That's irresponsible.
Well,
it's bad
virtue
parenting.
Can't exist without the free will to reject, right?
The free will is irrelevant. The point is whether or not, even if they had entirely their free will, even if they were, even if their free will was entirely there, it's still bad parenting to let your children be exposed to such things.
A child doesn't have the maturity to know what it's doing, does it?
Adam and Eve are a week old.
Right.
They didn't have the maturity either, clearly.
So they didn't also. So
they were naive.
They also didn't have. They didn't know what the repercussions of eating the fruit would be.
Yeah, they literally didn't have the knowledge of good and evil. That's what the tree was. That's what the tree gave them. They didn't know what goodness or evil is.
Okay, it's a fair argument. I'm going to take that away and think about that.
That's fair.
Because I don't think I can be convinced right on the spot in the short term.
I'm not expecting you to. Look, and it doesn't even have to change your mind. It's just that's the kind of thing where
it is
look,
a point, mate. Yeah.
If I believed in God, that'd be one thing, but just the story of the Garden of Eden, it just doesn't make any sense if this God is who we say he is, right? Something doesn't check. Maybe there's some explanation, but I don't know what it is. But Ryenstein, I'm gonna let you go. Go have a think on it. Feel free to come back at some point. We can talk about it more once you've had a think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm going to think about the closed loop thing, something from nothing as well, and hopefully we can talk again, mate. But yeah.
Have a good one, Ryan.
I'll raise it. Yeah, cool.
Take care. He was a nice guy. All right, let's bring up another guest. This time, we have to read some super chats first. From Lycon, that's why I asked you to steelman the position. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So, steelman the position that I don't want to steelman that position. It'd be annoying to do. It'd be annoying to have to steelman a position that nobody else is making right now. And also, I don't know if anybody believes it. I guess the steelman would be that simulations wouldn't be created for nothing. you know, generally when we use computer resources, when we use extreme amounts of computer resources, we want something out of them. And so it's plausible that, you know, if you think that the universe is simulated, then it's plausible that the universe is simulated to produce some sort of output rather than to just be entertainment. And so then it would make sense that it's doing some sort of computation. From DeForce with the $5 the stars aligned and my science goats teamed up on the line. I hope to see you collab again with Guts Given again in the future. Much love. It was great, honestly. Like, the stream chemistry was really good. Like, you can tell when two people who haven't interacted before don't have good stream chemistry, because there's like, they're interrupting each other, or like there's not good banter. But like Eric and I, there was good stream chemistry there. So I'd be happy to do it again. And from Dark Taper with the 5 Canuck bucks. I'm a bit behind, but this first guy is awful. I guess you can thank him for this $5. Well, thank you, Weird Thoughts 8 for the 5 Canuck bucks. And from I'm the Big Cheese with the $5. Would love to know argument why a person's resurrection would make them also infallible in God. Seems like a non sequitur. It is a non sequitur. Like, it's absolutely a non sequitur. Yeah. From the Big Cheese again with the $5. The tree in the garden is effectively the same as the thermal exhaust port on the Death Star. It's either a fatal flaw or an intentional flaw. That's a good point. That's actually a really funny point. All right, let us bring up another guest. This time from TikTok. I have to lower the volume again. Let's bring up Peak State.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. Peak State. Do you believe in a god?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Which god would that be? Just so then I don't confuse or make a mistake.
Yeah, so I think that I'm going to come out of left field, but the God that I choose to believe in is not one that I would convince you to believe in.
That's weird.
It might be for you, but for me it makes perfect sense because it is a belief that serves me in my life, but it may not be a belief that serves you in your life.
Well, like, look, I just am interested in believing what's true about the world. So, like, you know, I believe that the Earth is a sphere because it's true that the Earth is a sphere. I like to believe that, you know, I don't know what would be another example, that like Niagara Falls exists and it borders between New York and Canada because it's true that Niagara Falls exists and it's on the border between New York and Canada. So like, I would just like to be convinced of the true thing.
Sure. So if you want to just speak objectively, I'll say some true things. If you have a sense of faith and a higher power, you live on average 4 to 14 years longer.
Okay.
There is an objective benefit that is something that would serve you.
Sure. Okay. But how does that imply that it's indeed a true thing?
I think that for my personal beliefs, just for context, I commend you. I can tell you're a very cerebral type. You know a lot about science. I also have an engineering degree. I choose to look at my life as something that I don't need to answer every question. Some parts of life will always be a mystery, and life may be more meaningful should I choose to have a sense of spirituality than my personal life might be without that sense of spirituality.
Okay, but it seems like that you're not arguing for the truth of the thing. You're arguing for the pragmatic value that the belief in the thing grants.
I'm arguing for the true value that it may offer somebody who believes in God.
But that's unfortunately, this as hard as I might try, I'm gonna have a hard time believing in something that I have good reason to think doesn't exist, even if believing that thing grants me some sort of benefit.
Sure, and that's fair. I guess I would just ask you the question: might you be missing out on something,
possibly
in life?
Very possibly, but that like.
And so my question to you would be: why would you deprive yourself of that opportunity?
It's my cross to bear, my guy. I just can't get myself to believe something that in my heart of hearts don't actually believe is true, just because it will grant me some sort of benefit.
Yeah, that's a fair stance to take. What do you benefit from by choosing to hold your atheist beliefs?
I don't think that I choose my beliefs. I think that the beliefs are things that convince me, and what things convince me are based off of my prior experience and my my brain chemistry or psychology and the environment that I was raised in and things like that. And if a thing doesn't convince me, then I'm just not going to believe it. And I don't think that that's something that I can choose or not choose.
Sure. And I used to be an atheist, and I can tell you that for me personally, there are things, being really smart, being really cerebral can be really lonely sometimes. If you're very focused on being correct and being true all the time, it's not always the best way to make friends. It's not always the best. Most of my adolescent life.
No, why?
For the same reasons you are, very cerebral, very truth-oriented. I'm very intellectually motivated as well.
So then you stopped being truth-oriented and stopped being cerebral?
Yes. Well, no, they're not mutually exclusive.
How can you be truth-oriented and also not care to believe what's true?
For the meaning that it brings to me.
Then it sounds like you're not truth-oriented.
I don't believe, I'm not like, okay, so this is where we get subjective, and this is where there's going to be a whole lot of people with a lot of different opinions here, but I don't believe that my sense of a higher power contradicts the possibility of evolution. I don't believe that the laws of physics are contradicted by me having a belief in a higher power and a God.
Right, no, but that's not my point. My point is that if you were like actually an atheist, then you thought that like you had good reason to think that there is no God. And then for some reason, which you haven't told me, but for some reason, you began to believe in a God. So what was the reason that got you to that belief? What was the thing that convinced you?
I have told you the additional meaning that I get by adopting that belief.
So it sounds like you went from the kind of person that is only really capable of believing things that convince them of something to the kind of person that is capable of believing things kind of willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly, that's kind of a harsh way to put it.
Okay, then we can say ad hoc or something like that. There isn't that it didn't convince you, but you still believe it anyway.
Let's put it this way. If you're
Go ahead. Sorry.
If you're somebody who is really trying hard to maybe change some of your habits, if you're somebody who has experienced significant loss, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't want to. Can I ask you a personal question?
My dad died when I was 11, so yes, I have.
Okay, and you can go through that, and you can say that's the objective terminus of a human life. Okay, there's nothing there, or you could say this is a really hard time, and I'm gonna look for some extra support that I'm not getting from my immediate circle through a belief that I'm choosing to adopt. And so sometimes people choose to have these beliefs because they provide meaning or strength. And like, look, I totally hear you. If some of your motivation is that some religion is really bad and has caused really bad things.
No, that's not my motivation.
Okay.
No, it's just like, look, I'm just not going to believe something unless somebody provides convincing evidence or convincing reasons to believe it. And it I don't know, like nobody's done that.
Yeah, I mean,
that
only
offering me is like
convincing.
cope, which fair, I guess. It's just I don't know. It's just not going to be particularly compelling to me.
And that's fair. That's my attempt at convincing you, is that it may provide strength when you need it. It may provide meaning when you need it. It may provide optimism when you need it. But if none of those convince you, I think ultimately you're only going to convince yourself if it ever makes sense for you, and it may never make sense for you.
Well, I would hope that if it's true, if it's real, then there would be some way to figure out that it's real without having to just rely on like what feels good or what makes you feel better.
I think that you have to realize that when you choose to adopt a belief, that starts to have real impacts. So
I don't
whether
think
it's
that people choose to adopt beliefs.
And I think that's where we differ.
Can you believe something that you haven't been convinced of?
I think that you can recognize that a belief in something changes behavior. So
that doesn't
when you're a
address my
child,
question.
okay, so when you're a child and you choose to believe in Santa Claus,
I don't think that you choose to
or you
believe in it. I think that it's something that you're convinced to believe because you're naive.
So have you ever, okay, in literature, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, he started the genre of magic realism. I'm sure, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of magic, but I'm just saying he talks about this concept of the willing suspension of disbelief. Have you ever enjoyed a fiction book or anything in your life like that? A movie that isn't real?
Of course, of course.
And have you ever had a meaning that you've arrived at from that feeling, sort of suspending that cerebral part of your brain?
A meaning. Well, I don't suspend.
Did it move you?
I don't suspend.
Did it move you?
Yeah. There have been absolutely meaningful works of art that are fiction. Absolutely.
And that's where we're getting with that is, are you getting meaning?
But I don't believe that the art is something that really happened. Like if we're talking about a movie or like a book, I don't believe that the events of the book or the story in the movie actually happened, even if they're meaningful.
And I think that the question that helped me find this option for myself is life a question to be answered or a mystery to be lived?
I don't know what that means. I don't think it's either. Well, I mean, obviously life is to be lived. I don't know what it means for it to be a mystery.
Does everything need to be known? Does everything need to be certain? Does everything need to be truth? Or
I did ask you a question, and I still haven't gotten an answer from it.
What is it?
It was, do you think that you can believe something, or can you believe something without first having been convinced of it?
In my case, with my faith, yes.
Okay, so you weren't convinced of it. You didn't think that it was real, but you just chose to say it was real?
Some working definitions of, my studies of theology and spirituality have helped me look at things differently, or like going from a literalist lens, like you're very literalist when you reference the Bible, for example, talking about the age of Adam and Eve, etc., versus like more of an allegorical lens and saying,
well, you can't really be a Christian and think that the Garden of Eden was allegorical.
I am.
Well, I think that you run into an internal contradiction then, because the reason why Jesus needed to die for your sins, which is the critical claim of Christianity, is because of original sin, is because of what happened in the Garden of Eden. Right? It's not just some like allegory, right? It's something that actually happened. You're fine.
Sorry, I got a phone call. What'd you say?
The reason why Jesus needed to die for your sins is because of the original sin which was obtained in the Garden of Eden. Right? That is the fundamental prescription that is required to be Christian, that Jesus needed to die for your sins. And why do you have sins? Because of original sin. And where does original sin come from? It comes from the Garden of Eden. It comes from the corruption of Satan.
And I don't know what religious circle you confirm, all of these like objectively have to do this to be Christian beliefs from, but it didn't serve me to choose to read the Bible literally. Didn't serve me. It might serve somebody else that way, but it didn't serve me to derive meaning through the Christian lens that way.
Do you think that Jesus needed to die for your sins?
Do I think that Jesus needed to die for my sins?
For everybody's sins, perhaps.
For me, I can tell you how I derive meaning through the stories in the Bible, but I don't care so much about extracting perfect facts and then affirming or refuting them as the framework for how I derive meaning through the Christian lens.
Just doesn't sound like you're Christian.
I'm a confirmed Christian because I've accepted that I could have picked pretty much any religion and still found that it gives meaning through my life. Say what?
Do you accept the Nicene Creed?
I don't know.
Okay, so I can read the Nicene Creed for you if you want. This is something that was produced by the Council of Nicaea in like 1700 years ago. This is like the fundamental belief system. It's like the minimal belief system to be Christian. So I'll just read it really quick. So it says,
I am a Christian. I'm a confirmed Christian.
So it says, we believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, begotten from the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, of the same essence as the Father. Through him all things were made. For us and for our salvation, he came down from heaven. He became incarnate by the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary and was made human. He was crucified for us under Pontius Pilate. He suffered and was buried. The third day he rose again. According to the scriptures, he ascended to heaven and is seated at the right hand of Father. He will come again with glory to judge it goes on and on about the Holy Spirit. But the point is that the Nicene Creed, which is like the fundamental belief system of what Christianity is, includes that he was crucified for us, that for us and for also our salvation he came down from heaven. That, what do you get salvation from? From sins, of course. He was crucified for us. Well, what for us? For what? For our sins. Like, this is like fundamental to Christianity. So I don't know how you could say that it's not.
Yeah, and it's just, there's too much to unpack quickly for you, and you're going to dismiss all my thoughts along the way as being not literalist. And regardless, allegorically, yes, I do believe that, and I believe personally. I mean, and you're asking a person's opinion on what they believe, so somebody else is going to have a totally different belief, and that's fine. But the way that makes sense to me is it's a story, and it's a story of somebody. And then we can all look at, wow, there was a life of somebody who chose to live in a way that was meaningful and had, did a lot of good things for people. We can emulate that. And then somebody who was not very kind killed that person. And that's, something that we can take away. We can basically say, wow, if you live a life where you're very kind to other people, you may be remembered for that, and there may still be evil in that world. And there's a whole story there to unpack that can be meaningful. Do I think that somebody who has a different religion and believes in a God is wrong? No, I don't dismiss that. So to that sense of the Nicene Creed, I think that there could be one true God for each person who finds meaning through that true God. And that's where I might be different from some Christians, but I'm sure that there are other Christians who don't need to punch down at a different religion just because they have their own religion that seems to serve them.
I just, like, all of those things that you said you believe. There was a good guy who had good influence, and then he was killed by bad guys, and there's still none of that. You can believe that and be atheist.
Sure.
None of that is Christianity. Like, and like, Christianity is not just like whatever you want it to be. It's a specific religious tradition, right? And it derives from the Nicene Council, the Council of Nicaea.
Sure.
So, like, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe you're not a Christian, and that's fine, you don't have to be a Christian. But, like, if you're not, it seems like it's, like, your interpretation of Christianity is just vibes, but, like,
I guess so. I mean, I'm a very cerebral and logical guy like you too, and I guess I don't really need to keep going back in circles. Like, the points I'll leave you with to try to quote unquote convince you is that it may provide meaning for you to have a sense of a higher power, even if that sense is there's something calling me to study physics and study science and try to bring truth to the world. There's some sort of energetic force calling me to live that purpose, and I don't know what it is, but I wake up every day wanting to do it, and I'm choosing to listen to that calling rather than the temptation to go do heroin and crawl into a ball and become an addict, and that's keeping me away from something that allows me to live my purpose. And that's pretty cool, and that could be something that gives you meaning, and you could do that through the lens of a religion, or you could do that not through the lens of a religion, and that's really my sort of, that's all I wanted to bring you.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it, Peak State.
Alrighty,
have
a good one.
I'm going to, just give me a sec. I just got to take care of something really quick. I want to, where is it? Trying to find a picture. Oh, there it is. One sec. Copy. Paste. Nope, that's the wrong thing. It's the wrong picture. There we go. Gonna change up the backdrop a little bit. Just for funsies. There we go. And then this one goes down. And then we can take this. And then we can move this, and then we can rotate it. Ooh, what just happened? Okay, that one stays the same. Remove. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. All right, let us continue with some super chats, and then we'll move on to our next guest. From Ekipo with the 10 euros, another piece of evidence that the Bible is false. It says Adam named all the animals. At some point, he would just start mashing the keys. Askj, Nickmlads. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if he had a keyboard, so I don't know. From Lycon with the 1,000 yen, just a thought experiment. I'm atheist. The goal is not the simulation, but to add mind to the universe, and most apologists have no idea what a Turing complete model is, so of course, yeah, of course. From Dr. Fudge with the $5, you will not use the author of 100 Years of Solitude to make your horrible argument, you dinkus. I don't even, I haven't read this, so I don't know that I should be defending it or something. From Moise Dyer with the 449 Indian rupees, thoughts on Pascal's wager? It fails when you consider that there could be other gods. That's the reality, right? All right, let's bring up our next guest. A guest from Discord, Big Bang Ben. What a name. Big Bang Ben, how's it going? Big Bang Ben, you are live on the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Big Bang Ben, do you believe in God?
I do believe in God, yes.
And which God would that be?
Christianity, Christian God.
Okay, now look, I don't. I'm an atheist, that's what the background says. Why should I believe in the Christian God? What reasons should I have?
Well, firstly, I have 3 reasons, and they can all be argued, explained away. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna catch my breath.
Sure.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're fine.
Firstly, Christianity is founded on faith. God cannot exist without it.
Really?
Because if we didn't have faith, everybody would behave because God exists and it's provable and it's fact. So we must have faith. Otherwise, there's no point in God if we're all good.
Well, I don't understand.
Correct?
So you're saying that God's existence depends on people having faith?
Yes. Because everybody would be good
is...
otherwise. And you wouldn't need a God because everybody's perfect.
So if everybody was good, God would just cease to exist?
No, they'd be with him. I mean, we would all be God themselves because we're all perfect. And God is perfect. Does that follow logically?
I don't think so. It just
well, how would you,
it sounds like you're saying that
ask...
God's existence is contingent on the faith of humans. And that, like, if the faith disappears, itself. Then all of a sudden God disappears.
I'm saying the religion itself is dependent on faith. Because
that's probably
if
true.
You are a perfect, infallible being, right?
I don't think those are the 2 options. Or do you think the 2 options are either faith or being perfect and infallible?
I mean, are you human or are you God?
I think that you can not have faith and still be human.
Yeah, but can you be perfect? That's the difference.
No.
That's what I'm underlining to start with.
No, of course not.
Okay, but if you were perfect, doesn't that make you God?
Well, I don't think God's real, so no.
Okay, but you understand the premise of a God. A God is perfect, correct? Can we at least?
It depends on how. It depends on how we're cashing out perfect. Perfect is a hard word to
No, it's
define.
God. Perfect is God. How is that?
Okay, but now you have to explain to me what it means. What it means for something to be perfect. Is Satan perfect because he's maximally evil?
Infallible.
So infallible means something like everything that being desires happens. And the being is incapable of making mistakes?
You can't make mistakes if you're perfect.
Well, no, so I'm asking you not what is true about perfect things. I'm asking, what is it that makes something perfect? What are the properties of the thing that makes something perfect?
Well, I mean, by definition, right, there's no flaws, right?
Yeah, but like, is being evil a flaw or is being good a flaw?
I mean, do you think evil is a flaw?
Well, I mean, you can have my opinion on the matter, but, you know,
How about every soul that's ever existed? Do they think evil is a flaw?
Probably not.
Well, it might be a flaw of themselves.
I mean,
okay.
Do you think that Satan thinks that evil is a flaw?
I've never said that he was perfect.
Well, no, I know,
yes.
but
Satan I think Satan actually knows. I think he knows he's flawed.
He knows he's flawed, and yet he continues.
Yeah,
he knows that evil is bad.
In fact, that's the reason why Satan got cast down to hell.
You don't think that he thinks that that was unrighteous, that he shouldn't have been cast down to hell?
He envied God.
And you don't think that that envy was justified? You don't think that he thinks that that envy is justified?
Well, he can think that all he wants, but
so then he wouldn't think that having envy is a flaw if he thinks it's justified.
Well, I mean, you can be. I mean, there's psychopaths. I mean, but you can also say, like, you know, the 1% doesn't outweigh the facts. Like,
I don't think that we determine the objective truth of something by popular vote.
So what you're saying is nothing can be perfect. Is that what
I'm saying? Is that perfect is basically impossible to define if you want it to apply to God and not Satan.
Objective?
It's subjective.
Wow, that's impressive coming from you, because I think you're very intelligent.
I appreciate that. The backhanded compliment really rubs me the right way.
Can we move beyond that first premise?
Sure, go ahead.
Apparently we can't get a baseline agreement on it.
Sure.
I got a few more things.
Yep.
As a physicist, do you believe that the three things that you need for a universe is time, space, matter?
No.
So
you could have time and space without matter. You could have time and space without matter. You could have space and matter without time. Maybe you could have time and matter without space, but I'm not sure.
With time, space, and matter. Do you need anything more?
Do you need anything more?
My question was, do you need more than time, space, and matter to create universe?
Do you mean like to be a universe? I mean, no. That is like all of the. Well, okay. It depends on how it depends on how you're cashing out matter. But like, if matter just means the stuff in the universe, then sure, yeah.
Okay, is there something outside of the universe?
I suspect not.
Okay, so in essence, you agree that what you need for the stuff inside of the universe, which is what you just said, time, space, matter is all you need.
Well, so I would say that like matter is kind of the stuff in the universe, right?
Say that again?
I would just say that like if by matter you just mean like the things in the universe, then yeah, sure, absolutely. There's just there's a technical distinction between matter and like there's non-matter stuff that exists in the universe. Like photons are not matter, but they're still stuff. So that's the only distinction I'm drawing.
Oh, okay. Okay. I get you. That's fine. Photons, light itself, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so sure, barring that distinction, sure, I'm happy to agree.
You're kind of making my point for me, which is nice.
Okay.
Especially when you mention photons.
Sure.
So
what's your point?
The beginning of the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and also said, and then there was light, and there was light. So
sure, that's what it says.
Space, matter. In the beginning, time, space, heavens, and the earth, matter. So time, space, matter, and then you mentioned photons, and then there was light. And this was created a couple hundred years, King James Bible, before there was thermodynamics, physics of this caliber.
I don't think that it requires physics to know that. I don't think it requires physics to know that if you're talking about a creation story, there's going to be a beginning of the thing that's being created, and the thing and the things that are being created in many ancient cultures was like heavens, which was everything that wasn't earth, and then earth. So like this isn't really a particularly insightful comment. There's nothing really magical happening here.
It requires that God to be outside of the universe, and that was a forethought for the people who wrote the Bible, which was.
To be clear, the Genesis doesn't say that. In Genesis,
no,
in Genesis 1, God is in the universe.
It's inherent. If you create a video game or a computer,
in Genesis 1, he didn't create the universe. That's not what Genesis 1 says.
No, he created the heavens.
Yeah, he created the heavens and the earth.
I mean,
before that, there was just chaos. There was the chaos of the deep. There's just water everywhere, which is stuff.
So what it implies, though, is that God is outside of the universe.
It doesn't imply that at all. That's a later interpretation.
Well, if you create a video game, are you inside of the video game?
No, of course not. But in
Do you believe
Genesis,
in simulation theory?
no. In Genesis,
Oh.
God is inside the universe.
Who's Ben? Where does
Sorry,
it
what?
say that? I guarantee you look that up. You do not find it
Yeah,
in the Bible.
let's go to Genesis. Pull up Genesis 1.
And it says God's inside of the universe.
It says that he's
Come on.
hovering over the face of the waters. Where are the waters?
God is everywhere, though.
That's not what it says in the. It's not what it says in Genesis. Sorry, one second. Let me pull it up. You're on Discord, so I'll read it for everybody else, but you'll just have to, or I'll pull it up for everybody else, but you'll just have to listen. Is that fair? But I'm just going to read directly from BibleGateway.com. It's just a Bible repository. And I think, yeah, this is just the NIV. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. So, sorry, where was the Spirit of God?
Hovering over. That's not inside.
Well, look, so if you're over something, that sounds like you're in a place.
No. If you're over something, you're outside of it.
The waters.
Or I'm over a balloon. Does that mean I'm
but
inside
so if you're
the balloon?
over the balloon, you're still at a place, right?
It's still outside of the universe. So that's
Outside of the universe is not a place.
It's not fair.
Outside of the universe, outside of the universe is not a place.
Can you agree with that?
No. I mean, like, if you are over the waters, then you're still in the universe because you're.
I'm not in the
at
water,
a place.
though.
Sorry?
I'm not in the water.
I didn't say he was in the water. I said that it says that God was hovering
You
over the
literally
waters.
said he's inside the universe. And
Yeah,
now-
he is in the water, or he is in the universe, not in the water. He's over the water, but over is still
Exactly.
a place.
So outside.
The waters wasn't everything.
This is semantics.
This isn't. I mean, no. The point is that Genesis 1 was not, like, originally was not interpreted as God created the universe, as God creating the universe. It was much more in line with.
So point number
with
two,
others,
which honestly, at the very beginning of
Sure,
this,
go
I want to
ahead.
be completely honest with you. There's no way, like I said, beginning, like, you have to have faith in order for Christianity to exist. We got to a point where it's kind of back and forth. We're getting to a point where it's back and forth on this one. And I'm not saying I'm going to win an argument against you or convince you in any sort of way. Just like you're not going to convince me that God doesn't exist. And I think that's perfectly fair. It's great to have open discussion for people to think on and come up with their own conclusion. But I would like to get to my third and final point.
Sure, go ahead.
Because we're kind of going back and forth.
Well, that is the point of a debate live stream, but sure, go ahead.
Which leads me to physical evidence.
Sure, I'd love to hear
Or
it.
would you be happy with that?
I'd love it, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Something that was found years and years after Jesus is a tangible physical thing. It's got some negative photo qualities, some holographic imaging that
Are we talking
is
about the Shroud of Turin?
unexplainable to this day by science. And I
Unexplained.
know you're a scientific guy.
Are we talking about the
so you
Shroud of
might like
Turin?
this. It's the Shroud of Turin.
You mean the
And-
one that
and
the one that
eventually we'll come up
we
with
have
a
historical
logical-
evidence of that it was a fake in the 1300s,
Well, okay.
which is
even
confirmed
if
by
it's a
carbon
fake,
dating.
Even if it's a fake,
Mhm.
why can't we explain some of its physical features?
I
as
don't know any
science-
physical features that we can't explain.
Yeah, negative photo qualities and holographic imaging and
Where's the holographic
causes-
imaging? There was just ochre painted on it.
No, prove it. Google it right now, like
Yeah.
you did the last time.
I'm familiar. Let me pull it up. Actually, I think I have this in a
Yeah,
document somewhere.
it's still unexplainable. Which
It's very explainable. Let me see if I can pull it up for you really quick. Here we go.
well, cite me the reference if it.
Yep, I
proves
will.
it, 'cause Is it going to be Cosmo magazine?
No. Let me pull it up for you. Well, you won't be able to see it again, but there was a paper published in the journal Archaeometry, and the paper is called "Image Formation of the Holy Shroud: A Digital 3D Approach." And so, if you want to pull that up, you can.
Approach keyword, and nobody's heard of the archaeometry.
Nobody's heard of the journal
Archaeometry.
Archaeometry.
I mean, yeah.
Just
I mean,
because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean nobody's heard of it.
I understand. I'm just saying it's not mainstream. But go ahead.
What? How do you know? What do you mean? Are you familiar with any archaeological journals? Can you name a single one?
I don't have to be to know that it's not general public knowledge.
We're not talking about general public knowledge. We're talking about science.
Okay.
So
Either way,
I'll just read you a
go ahead
summary.
with what it says.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead
So,
with what
so
it
I'll
says.
just read you a summary. This is
The
you know how like sometimes a
approach.
paper will come out and then science.
With the approach. Yes, go with the approach.
Yeah, yeah. So the Shroud of Turin, famously claimed to be Jesus' original burial covering, could not have been created on a three-dimensional body. A new study finds. It is much more likely that the image is an imprint of a low-relief sculpture, according to a graphics expert. In a study published Monday in the journal Archaeometry, Brazilian 3D digital designer Cicero Moraes, who specializes in historical facial reconstruction, uses modeling software to compare how cloth drags over a human body versus how it drapes over a low-relief sculpture of one. The image on the Shroud of Turin is more consistent with a low-relief matrix, Moraes told Live Science in an email. Such a matrix could have been made of wood, stone, or metal and pigmented or even heated only in the areas of contact, producing the observed pattern. The shroud was first recorded in the late 14th century, and controversy over whether it was an authentic relic from the crucifixion and death of Jesus kicked off immediately. A carbon dating analysis carried out in 1989 placed the shroud's creation in the range of AD 1260 to 1390, solidifying its interpretation as a medieval artifact. During this time, it just gets into the history a little bit. To investigate how the Shroud of Turin might have been made, Moraes created and analyzed two digital models. The first model represented a three-dimensional human body, and the second model was a low-relief representation of a human body. Using 3D simulation tools, Moraes then virtually draped fabric onto the two different body models. When he compared the virtual fabric to photographs of the shroud taken in 1931, Moraes found that the fabric from the low-relief model almost exactly matched the photographs. In the simulation with the three-dimensional body, Moraes wrote in the study, the fabric deformed around the volume of the body, resulting in a swollen and distorted image. The distortion is sometimes called the Agamemnon mask effect, he wrote, after the unnaturally wide gold death mask found in the tomb of Mycenae in Greece. Moraes demonstrated in a video how the Agamemnon mask effect works by painting his face and pressing a paper towel to it. The resulting image is much wider than a front view of his face due to the distortion caused by imprinting a 3D object onto a 2D piece of fabric. And it goes on and on. But the point is the images formed on the Shroud of Turin could not have formed as a result of something being draped over the three-dimensional body. Because the images...
Actually, that's not true. That's not true.
That's what the study says. The peer-reviewed study says.
It was likely.
Yeah, that's how we do science. That's how we talk in science.
They didn't... And then also, that's a lot of work for somebody in the 1800s to go through.
1300s, by the way. And no, it's actually really not hard to do. You just need a statue. You just drape it over a statue, rather than draping it over a person.
Wow, so they created this to be argued over for several hundred years. They put a lot of work into this.
I don't know. Secondly, it doesn't take a lot of work to do this. And like the point is that
could you do it?
Could I do it? Maybe. Yeah. Like I've seen like, in fact there was a guy who did it recently with like period tools.
But also it contains AB blood as well. And it doesn't
where's the study that supports that? Because I've heard this claim and nobody's ever presented me the evidence for it. By the way, there was an Italian scientist named what was his name? It was Lorenzo Garlascelli, I want to say. Luigi Garlascelli, I'm sorry, who used techniques available at the time in the 1300s to reproduce a Shroud of Turin lookalike.
Well,
so like, yeah, this is entirely within the possibility of the technology available to people in the 1300s to produce such a thing.
Well, they used blood first off, but secondly, the article states it's likely. It's not proven.
Yeah, that's how we talk in science. But you made the claim that it can't be explained. Well, apparently it can be. We have a likely explanation.
A likely explanation.
Yeah, so then it can, if it's likely, that means that it's possible, and if it's possible, that means it can be explained.
Then I want someone to repeat it.
Somebody did. His name is Luigi Garlascelli.
And then 700 years later, I want it to be carbon dated, and then we can prove
and it'll be carbon dated to this year. Right. Just like how the original Shroud of Turin was carbon dated to like the early 1300s.
Well, those are my three major points, and you may have like slightly penetrated beyond semantics on the Shroud of Turin, but you got to let me know in 700 years after you create the Shroud of Turin again.
Why does it have to be me? Why not Luigi Garlascelli?
He didn't do it though.
He did do it.
I
have a picture of it right here. You can't see
so
it, but you can go back and rewatch it. So on the left, we
Well, it
have
doesn't have the
the
700
negative of the
year old
Shroud of
AD
Turin, and on the
blood.
right, we have the one that was recreated by Garla Shelley.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the carbon dating. It doesn't have
If the thing was made today, if the fibers were harvested last year, then that means that it would carbon date to last year or perhaps this year. Basically, whenever the fibers were harvested. That's how carbon dating works.
Okay.
Like in 700 years, it'll be 700 years old, and the carbon dating will say that it was made, you know.
I mean,
in the
and also
2020s.
how accurate. I mean, honestly, how accurate is carbon dating? It
It's
works
very
better
accurate.
on older stuff.
Not only is it exceptionally accurate, it pinned down the exact year that Pompeii erupted, and then we compared that with the historical records, and they agreed exactly.
No, because they pull pollens and plant material and different things out of it to get the carbon dating.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't even know if dinosaurs were actually 1,000,000 years old for
What are
sure.
you talking about?
Yeah, when they carbon date stuff.
They don't carbon date dinosaurs.
It's taking off organic material.
Yeah, carbon dating uses organic material because it uses carbon.
Right. But that organic material could have happened 50 years later and landed on that thing you're carbon dating, and now you're off by 50 years.
So, to be clear, fortunately...
So to be clear,
please don't interrupt. We know that the carbon dating is good in this case because it lines up with the historical record. Sorry, it wasn't carbon dating, it was krypton-argon dating. I always get those two confused. But the carbon dating of the Shroud of Turin lines up with the historical record. Namely, we have documents, written historical documents from the early 1300s, or from the middle of the 1300s saying, hey, this guy claims he found the shroud of Jesus's shroud, but then we found the guy who admitted that it's a forgery. Potassium argon dating. I'm sorry, not krypton. Like we have not only do we have testimony from religious leaders that they caught the guy who forged it, we also have carbon dating that lines up exactly with when they say it was forged.
The forging part is a separate issue. The original Shroud of Turin has not been proven to be a forgery.
There is no original Shroud of Turin. It doesn't exist. I mean, maybe it existed. Well, I mean, according to the Bible, there is no Shroud of Turin. There would be 3 burial cloths, not 1. But that's neither here nor there. The point is the one that is in, where is it? It's like in somewhere in France, I guess. That never touched Jesus. That was a forgery.
But you believe Jesus existed?
Yeah, probably.
As a person?
Yeah, probably.
And you believe that he was crucified or no?
That seems plausible. Lots of people were crucified at the time, so it seems plausible that he was.
But you don't believe that we found evidence of his burial?
No, I don't think so.
That's telling. You
telling
believe
of
the
what?
guy existed. You believe that his grave existed. You just don't believe that we found his grave.
It's not clear that he even would have had a grave. Like,
oh yeah, they just threw him in a ditch, of course.
Well, yeah, no, that's what happened to a lot of victims of crucifixion at the time.
Because you were there. What are you talking about?
We have records. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that they were just tossed. They just tossed bodies.
Yeah,
in the
that
street.
they didn't get individual
caused
burial
disease
sites.
That would cause problems.
Yeah,
like you need to bury
called
bodies.
mass graves.
So there is a grave.
If you count a mass grave, which is just a hole in the ground that you throw bodies.
Oh, you were very good at circular arguments.
How is this circular?
It is circular. You just said, dude, no, he didn't have a grave. Now you're saying, yeah, they put him
a
in
mass
graves.
grave is a word for a hole in the ground that they throw hundreds of bodies in. If that counts as a grave to you, fine.
That's why I'm saying you're very good at circular argument.
That's not circular. You just don't like my choice of words. It's not circular.
Okay, just like hovering above isn't circular, just like
no, again, that's not circular. Do you know what a circular argument
is? Perfect. You can't even let me describe perfect before I make my point, which everybody
on this planet,
Everyone on this planet would agree what the word perfect means.
No, this is a big issue of contention in the philosophy of religion.
I didn't even get to make my point before you argued the word perfect, to be honest.
I was just asking you how you cash it out, and you kind of floundered for a little bit.
And you couldn't describe it. How do you describe perfect?
It was your burden to do so because you were the one making the claims. I was trying to understand what you meant.
It's a word in the dictionary. Why do I have to? There's no burden of evidence.
No, look, you use words when you say words, you mean certain things. I was just asking how you cashed it out, what you meant when you said the word.
Oh, okay, so if I say the word mom, are you gonna be, well, is she adopted mom or is she?
If we need to get into the nitty gritty because it's key to your argument, then yeah, I might.
See, that's the point. I didn't even get the chance to do that, and you were already on the defense.
And is that what you think circular means?
You're very circular.
Do you think that being precise is circular?
I think the definition.
Can you explain to me what you think a circular argument is?
It's when you have a retort on a fact and you can transcribe it into something else or morph it into something else to get right back to the same point.
No, that's not what a circular argument is.
Okay, what's your definition? Because we're going to look it up and then we're going to argue about it. Come on.
Sorry, I'm just writing down that you don't know what a circular argument is at 2 minutes and 30 for 2 hours and 30 minutes.
What's the definition?
Okay, you want to? We can do this. So circular argument definition.
Understand how
all right, I just typed in circular argument definition into Google. Okay, so we can use the AI overview if you want, but we could also just use Wikipedia.
How about type in perfect first and do that?
Sure. And then you promise that we'll get back to the circular argument, how you don't know what that is?
Yeah, certainly.
Right, so we can use the AI overview, or would you prefer a dictionary?
I don't, either one. Either one's fine.
Okay, a dictionary is available, so in this case, we'll just use a dictionary. So perfect, being entirely without fault or defect. That's option A. Option B is satisfying all requirements. Option C is corresponding to an ideal standard or abstract concept. Option D is faithfully reproducing the original, or option E is legally valid. So my guess is that you're referring to either A or C. These are distinct definitions.
No, I can put God under all of those.
Legally valid?
Well, maybe not that one.
Faithfully reproducing the original? The original God? God is reproducing the original God?
I mean, God was and always has been, so that's fine.
So then it's not, so maybe you can say A, B, and C, but these are different definitions, right? So when you use it in a sentence, clearly you're referring to one of these notions because these aren't the same notion.
Fair enough. Hey,
so should we talk about circular reasoning?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so, sorry, not circular reasoning, circular argument.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if there's a dictionary definition. So it's a phrase, so it's not gonna have a definition. It's not gonna have a definition in a dictionary. But we can use like Wikipedia. Sorry?
Probably a Freudian slip, but that's okay.
Okay, so the Wikipedia article on circular reasoning. I'm just gonna pull this up for everybody because this is what the
we're not doing circular reasoning.
Well, that's what the AI overview linked to. I'd rather we can use the AI overview if you want, but you know.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. A circular argument, also known as circular reasoning, is a logical fallacy where the reasoner begins with the exact point they are trying to end with. Instead of providing actual evidence, the argument uses its conclusion to prove its premise, creating a repeating loop.
And that's what you did with.
I wasn't making an argument at all. So how could it be a circular argument?
Perfect.
I wasn't making an argument. So how could it be a circular argument?
You were making an argument. You were saying that God is inside of the balloon or in the water, and
in that case, I definitely was making an argument. But you didn't accuse me of doing. You didn't accuse me of circular reasoning there. You accused me of circular reasoning when I was trying to ask you to define what perfect meant.
Wow. Like, dude, like, you at some point you've got to say to somebody, "You're right."
Yeah, you should say that.
I don't think you ever have in your life.
Oh, I have all the time. I say it to my wife like on the daily.
Well, because that's your wife. You don't think it though. You just say it.
Oh no, I do think it. Wait, do you not think do you lie to your wife?
I have a fiance.
Do you lie to your fiance?
Yes. Yes.
Damn, I hope she doesn't know that.
No, I hope
he.
she does. Because
You
I
hope
know
she knows
lies
that you
to me.
lie to her?
There's a reason why you lie to somebody, to protect them.
I don't lie to my wife.
You should, on some
Why?
level. Okay, I'll
What?
give you an example. If something is extremely horrible and you saw it, and your wife goes, "What happened?"
I'd be
"No,
like, you don't want to
nothing."
know.
You say exactly.
That's
That's
not
a lie.
lying.
Or you
That's
say
true.
nothing. So and that's a horrible example, and it's the first one on top of my head. But there are reasons to lie to your
Okay,
wife.
so come up with a
and
better
vice versa.
example.
So can you say I'm right? That there
About
is
what?
reason to lie to your wife.
You haven't given me one.
No. Can you agree though
No.
that there are examples?
No, you shouldn't lie
reasons
to
to lie
you
to
shouldn't
someone.
lie to your spouse or your significant other.
Yes,
What?
you should. And there we go. We can go circular argument again.
It's not a
circular.
wait a minute. Do you think that a circular argument is just when you have a back and forth?
No, I think that when you have a circular argument, you argue to get back to the original point with no evidence.
What? No, a circular argument uses the conclusion as a premise.
No, that you start with one premise, right? And you talk, and eventually you work your way back around weaselly to the same point, saying, hey, I presented you with no evidence whatsoever. I just said a bunch of talking points, and now
that's
here
not
we
what a
are
circular
back at
argument
the
is.
same point.
In fact,
just
what we
like
just
lying
read-
to your wife. Is
So
there a
just-
reason to lie to anyone? Yes, there are, but you'll make a valid
Just
point.
like what we agreed
and
on
say, hey,
earlier, the definition that we use for a circular argument, it says instead of providing evidence, the argument uses its conclusion to prove its premise, creating a repeating loop. I haven't done that. What you described is not that. Saying a premise and then talking more and then saying the premise again is not a circular argument because you're not trying to demonstrate that the premise is true by assuming the premise is true.
Then what is it called that you do?
Speak precisely, I guess.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think there's a name for it. It's just like a way of having a conversation.
you must be perfect.
Nope,
I
never
can't
claimed
really do
that. But I'm
The only reason
experienced
why
enough to not produce circular argumentation on the regular.
Well, I think you do, and in your own mind, it's all justified.
Well, I understand that you think I do. I also understand that I guess you don't know what a circular argument is, even though we read the definition together.
Okay, that's fine, and I'm okay with that. But you don't
Okay.
know God, and that's what I'm trying to help you find.
Well, I
have
appreciate
to have
that. I
faith.
know that your heart's in a good place. At least I hope your heart's in a good place. But it seems like the Shroud of Turin was not particularly successful. And then there was a whole like your whole first point was about how, like, if we didn't have faith, then God wouldn't need to exist, which I don't even understand how that justifies belief in a God. And then your second point was about perfection, and we didn't really get far because you weren't able to cash out the word for me.
The time, space, matter thing, yeah, heavens and the earth. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. That was the second thing. I got
Do
mixed up.
Do you
Yeah.
think? Okay, can you? Okay,
See how I just said you're
let's
right?
assume-
Because you were actually
Alright,
right about that?
Give me one last minute, one last closing argument / question about the faith thing.
Sure, as
If
long as you're not going
you-
to preach, that's fine.
No, I'm not going to preach. No, I'm
Sure,
not
then
gonna
go
do
ahead.
that. If you, specifically you,
Mm-hmm.
believed in God, how would you do it without faith? Can you answer
With
that? 'Cause
evidence.
If you can't answer that,
I just answered. With evidence.
no. By definition, you can't have no. How would you believe in God without
With
faith?
evidence. Yeah, with evidence.
How? Oh, I guess I asked the question wrong. How does God exist without faith? If you believed in God,
Are you asking me if I believed in God, how would God exist without faith?
yes.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if a God exists, then that God is not dependent on our brain states. So that God would exist regardless of what people think about him, or people believe about him, or people have faith about him. Like, it would just exist on its own. And people could either have faith in it, or they could have belief in it based on evidence, or they could not have belief in it at all.
Thank you. I think this conversation's over. Thank you.
I
Welcome
agree,
to
it is over.
Christianity, my brother. Welcome to Christianity. I'm glad you believe in God now.
If that's what you got from that, maybe English isn't your first language. All right, he ran. All right, let's read some super chats. Like, I don't know how he took what I just said as admission that a god exists, but okay. Whatever you say, bud. From Simeon Urchin with the $2 Shroud of Tourism. That's good. It's a good bit. From Timothy with, that's fun, with the $2 Shroud of Turdhead annoys me as much as flirts. Look, we don't have to disparage people. Maybe we should. From Samantha with the $10 on Cash App for always keeping me entertained at work. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad I could participate in your entertainment. Sorry, I just realized that I just got that. I just got the Cash App, so I wanted to make sure I read it. From Simeon Urchin with the $5, we might actually have Jesus's bone box. Look at the James Ossuary. Very fascinating. Also, his caller turned into quite the whiner. He did. He did turn into a whiner, but that's okay. We stand whiners here. From I'm the Big Cheese with the $5, good Christian thinks it's good to lie to your wife. Traditional Christian values here, right? Like, isn't one of the 10 commandments not to bear false witness? From Super Pizza with the $2, Theist thinks lying is good. No way. Yeah, that was crazy. Those are the fruits of Christianity, y'all. And from Matt Lloyd with the £5, of course you should lie to your wife. What a terrible attitude to a relationship with someone you're supposed to love. Yeah, it's just weird, right? Like, I would hope that if your significant other says, do I look fat in this? When you say no, that you actually believe it. Like, I don't know, man. From Nobody Challenger with the $2, Shroud of Haktua. That's good. That's good. All right. Just want to check a few more places really quick. We do have a little bit of time left. I don't know if we have enough, though. We have 18 minutes left. Just making sure that I didn't miss anything anywhere else. From Wojtek. Okay. No, we're good. From Notorious PJG with the $5, watch your streams on lunch. Always a good listen. Cheers. Well, I appreciate that. I do my streams before lunch. Yeah, we can perhaps do one more. Let's bring up a guest from TikTok. Sorry, let's talk to Ruby Random. With a name like that. Ruby Random, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Ruby, do you believe in a god?
Yes, but I'm a scientific theist.
You're a scientific theist. Okay, so why should I believe in the god that you believe in?
The god I believe is based on the magnetosphere of the Earth.
Sorry, the god that you believe in is based on the magnetosphere of the Earth?
Correct.
What do you mean by God, then?
Not an interacting entity, but more like an encompassing field.
Okay, then it just seems like that this would be a semantics debate rather than a substantive debate, because I think that there are interacting fields, but I don't think that I would call them gods. So I'm gonna let you go because we just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to fight through that. Let's talk to Limited Thoughts. Limited Thoughts, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you, bro?
I'm doing all right. Have we spoken before fairly recently? Because for some reason I remember your name.
Oh, no, I was just commenting.
Okay, cool. So, do you believe in a god, Limited Thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't. Which god do you believe in?
I believe in Christianity.
Okay, so again, I don't. So why should I believe that Christianity is true?
Well, where do you believe your morality comes from?
I think it comes from, in part, like an evolutionary process. So we evolved as a social species, and I think like the rest of it basically kind of stacks on top of this stuff that was kind of built into us, and that stack up comes from social norms.
So you believe it's subjective?
In a sense.
Okay, so what do you mean by in a sense?
Well, in that this is a thing that humans do. I don't think that there are like facts about the world regarding objectivity, or regarding morality rather. I.e., even if you got rid of all of the humans, that there would still be morality somewhere in the world. That these are like natural, perhaps not natural, but these are facts of the world itself rather than things that humans conceptualize. So that's what I mean.
Okay, so you don't believe like murder is inherently wrong?
By inherently, do you mean objectively?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't believe that anything is objectively wrong, because I don't think that wrong or right is in the category of objective things. I think that it is. I think that these things are wrong, and wrongness is a subjective thing, i.e., it's constructed by human minds.
Do you believe if a God did exist that he could prevent evidence of him for being in existence and only use the faith aspect to get to know him personally?
He could. If this God also sent people to hell for not believing in him, then he would not be a good God. But yeah, in principle.
Do you want to talk about Adam and Eve and objective, like evil and good?
Well, again, I don't think that good and evil are objective things, but sure, we can talk about Adam and Eve.
Do you believe... Okay, so then that like kind of defeats your whole argument. That God...
I don't think it does.
Yeah, because you said they're not objective, so then there is no saying that what God did is bad, because that's...
Sure there is. You can say it subjectively.
Yeah, no, but you said it's like an objective thing.
I didn't say it's an objective thing.
Well, okay, but that's your subjective opinion on Adam and Eve.
Just because
right?
something's subjective doesn't make it an opinion.
Well, yeah, it does, because that's your opinion.
It can be universal and still be subjective. It can be objective and still be personal.
I know, but you're still identifying as that from your own definition while using the framework of God. You know,
so the argument, the analogy that I offered can be both framed as an internal critique. So whatever version of Christianity you want, we can frame it in that regard, and in that version of Christianity, it will still not make sense. And it can be framed as an external critique, meaning that from an outsider's point of view, anybody who reasonably would take the view that the parent is negligent would also come to the conclude that God is not good.
I know, but from the same way, point, you're still wrong, because God says that was part of his plan. We should trust his plan, not to trust our own plan, not to use human logic, but to trust his. So you're saying
it's good? So on the Christian worldview.
Let me talk. Okay.
I'm making an internal critique, so you can address the internal critique that I'm making. So on the Christian worldview, we get our morals from God, right? So our moral intuitions, the things that we judge as good or evil,
right,
bad, wrong, virtuous, whatever, those things that we, on the Christian worldview, those judgments that we come to are representative of what God actually represents, right? These are representative of the goodness inherent in God, correct?
Senses and reasoning, but you're missing the whole third point, which is faith, right? You have to have faith in a plan. That's the whole point. You can use senses
kind of irrelevant to the argument that I'm making.
Wrong, because
do you want me to make the argument, or do you just want to talk over me?
Well, let me make my point, okay? If you want to make
you can make your point, but I promise that if it doesn't address the actual argument that you haven't let me make, then I'm just going to move on and give you the argument.
If you want to take the Christian moral framework as this is right, then they would use the Bible, correct?
Depends. Some would, some wouldn't.
How does it depend?
Some would, some wouldn't.
What denomination want it?
I don't think it's a denomination-specific thing. Usually people are going to justify morality. Please let me finish my sentence. The more educated people, especially if they're more educated philosophically, they will try not to rely on the Bible for their justification of morality coming from God. They will try to derive it from a more philosophical notion or a philosophical means of argumentation. So yeah, no, I mean, it's just the more educated people tend to not use the Bible to come to form their arguments.
I mean, I get that in the modern day, right? But you still got to say that every language in the Bible has already been interpreted and described as we have in our real life functions.
I don't see how that addresses anything they said. Do you want me to actually make the argument so I can make the internal critique, or no?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so on the Christian worldview, all of our morals come from God. They come from God. You know, he imbued in us. He wrote on our hearts what is good and what is evil. You know, he taught us right and wrong. This is a feature that he gave us. It was a gift from him, if you will. Well, kind of, except except that we got these from eating from the apple. But that's a separate point. The point is that in the Christian worldview, we get these from God. That's where our moral intuitions come from, and we have those moral intuitions. And so, if those moral intuitions come from God, then they must be correct objectively. Now, our moral intuitions would indicate that a parent that is negligent towards their naive children would not be a good parent.
Yeah, but that's not where, so you're identifying as negligence, but that's not what Christians identify as Adam and Eve is negligence.
Yeah,
it's
so,
not negligence when he's always there. It's
so
just
what's what is the distinguishing feature between the analogy that I gave with the parent who owns the childcare place and the child sex trafficker, and then God, the Garden of Eden, and the snake?
One is a story that everyone uses today, and one is like just an event that can happen every day.
That doesn't address my question. What is the meaningful distinction? Like, what makes the analogy fail?
Okay, you said like God, like, okay, make your analogy.
Okay, yeah, I'll repeat it. So in this setting, we have a guy, a father of young-ish children. Maybe they're 4 or 5 or something like this, old enough to talk to you, but not old enough to be smart. Maybe 3 or something. He owns, like, his job is that he's a childcare, like, he's the CEO of a childcare company. He owns a childcare, like a daycare kind of place. And he sends his children to that daycare every day. That's where he drops them off when he goes to the office to do work. Now, he is informed by his neighbor that his nephew, who just got out of prison for sex trafficking children, his neighbor is approaching the daycare. And, you know, this, I guess this particular daycare doesn't have guards. And so, you know, the owner of the daycare, the CEO, he's just told, yeah, your nephew, this guy who went to jail for sex trafficking children, he's approaching the daycare where your children are. Now, the dad, in this case, he says, okay, thanks for telling me. And then he does nothing. And he waits for the child sex trafficker to offer his kids candy. And then when they eat the candy, they get driven away in a van. And, you know, never to be seen again because they were child sex trafficked.
Yeah, I don't view it like that. I kind of.
Okay, where does the analogy fail?
Because those don't really correspond at all. Adam and Eve.
Okay, which part?
Were naked.
Yeah.
In a forest. So where is the children being? Like, where is them consciously aware?
The Garden of Eden is the child care place.
How is the children aware that the animals and everything was made for them, but one thing? Where does that analogy compare?
It's not in the analogy because it's not part of the story.
Because it fails.
In order for something to be not analogous, you have to point out how 2 aspects of the analogy don't correspond.
Well, how can
how a part of the analogy doesn't correspond to the thing you're trying to analogize?
How can a conscious child know that he can do this and not do that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I left out one piece of the analogy. The parent says, "Don't take candy from strangers." The dad tells the children every day, "Don't take candy from strangers."
Were Adam and Eve babies or were they adults?
They were like a week old.
No, but
they were very naive. They didn't know the difference between good and evil.
Yeah, but of course, because that concept wasn't developed to them yet.
Yeah. So they were naive. They were like children. They weren't literally children. They had the bodies of adults, but they had the experience of children.
Aren't there adults that are like children? Aren't there adults that are human spirited like that?
I'm not talking about like youth spirited or whatever. I'm talking about like the level of experience and knowledge of the world that they have.
But that's what they were. They were adults, not babies.
Right, but they had the level of experience, perhaps the emotional maturity. They had the knowledge, the wisdom of children.
Where's your biblical answer for that?
Yeah, it says that they had not yet eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Granted them that concept.
Yeah, so they didn't even have a concept of good and evil yet, like children.
Yes, but they weren't children.
They weren't,
I know that's hard
it's
to
an
conceive
analogy.
of.
It's
I
an
know that's
analogy.
hard
They're
to
not
conceive
literally
of.
children. It's an analogy.
I know, but how could certain things happen? You know, you kind of have to understand that you can't conceive because, again, you're taking the logic that they were just born as adults. Where's your logic that proves that?
Were they formed as babies?
As an atheist, you can't. As an atheist,
this is an internal critique, my guy.
I know, but you're internal.
So I'm not taking an atheist perspective while making this argument.
You're not having a logical basis on they were babies. They weren't.
I didn't say they were babies. They were adults with the experience of children, with the wisdom of children, with the knowledge of children.
Were they not playing with animals, or were they saying goo goo gaga? Were they saying?
I said children, not babies. What are you doing?
Speaking?
Who are you talking to?
Okay, but
it's not me.
Can children have coherent sentences and develop topics?
Yeah.
No, they can't.
Children can have.
Not to the degree of an adult, dude.
Children can speak in full sentences. Have you met a child?
Again, that's not what I said. Develop topics. And you said 4 to 5.
Sorry.
What child can develop a topic at 4 to 5?
I'm sorry. Where's the verse that says they were capable of complex conversations?
Just tell me what children can develop a topic at 4 to 5.
What do you mean develop a topic? You mean like have a conversation?
Not just that. Have a conversation. Think about it the next day. Have coherent thoughts.
Children have coherent thoughts. Every child is like this unless they're developmentally delayed.
Okay, so you were consciously aware from 4 to now.
Yeah?
No, you were not. You were in and out of consciousness until you were about 12.
Obviously when I was sleeping.
Exactly. No, what?
When you're sleeping, you're not conscious, right?
Bro, you were not a conscious kid at 4, bro.
You think that 4-year-olds aren't conscious? They don't have self-awareness?
Okay, so you were fully as you are now at 4.
No, obviously, I'm more wise. I'm more intelligent. I have more memories. I have more experiences. I'm more mature.
You remember every single day. You remember every single day.
No, obviously not.
Why? Where were
because our memory is not perfect. What are you talking about?
Okay, well,
we forget things if we don't think about them on the regular. What does that have to do with anything? That's irrelevant.
Complexity of mind.
Also, what's the verse? What's the verse that says they have perfect memory?
Okay, but we're using your basis. Where's the verse that says they don't?
I'm just assuming that they have they have memories of humans. They're humans, right? Do any humans have perfect memory?
No, but where's the verse that says they have childlike memory?
I never said that they have childlike memory. You wanted to make the claim that I said that, but I never did.
Childlike consciousness.
I didn't say they have childlike consciousness.
Yes,
I said that they are like
you said
a child.
They were like 4 to 5-year-olds. Okay,
yeah,
that's
they are
in
their wisdom, in their knowledge, in their emotional maturity, in their experience.
Not the same thing as
it's not the same thing. No.
Okay. Then
words are hard. I understand.
Okay, so how was your conscious experience?
Is that even a sentence?
Oh, I just said it, dipwad.
How was your conscious experience?
Yes. Can you not sound it out? How is it? Come on, is it good or bad? It's not that hard.
Oh, you want the quality? Oh, yeah. I would say it's generally pretty good. Although all things considered, right now it's actually pretty miserable because I have to talk to you.
No, it's because you don't know what you're saying.
Again, okay. So where does the analogy break? Which part of the analogy that I offered is not analogous to the Garden of Eden?
Because you can use a better analogy. That's
just
not the whole
there might be a better analogy. How is the analogy that I offered not analogous?
I know, but you're using your own senses to judge what is
the senses that, according to you, were given by God.
Yes, but again, if they were, then God would exist. But you're not submitting to that.
That's why it's an internal critique, dumbass.
I know, but it doesn't make sense because you're creating information. You're creating information out of nothing.
What do you mean I'm creating information out of nothing?
Because use the analogy the Bible gave us.
The Bible didn't give us an analogy. According to you, the Bible gave us a literal story that actually happened. It's not an analogy.
Right. And what?
So that's why I'm giving you an analogy so that you can better understand my critique.
You're saying that there was no purpose for this, but there is a purpose.
I never said that anywhere.
Okay, so tell me what the purpose for this was.
I don't care what the purpose is. It's irrelevant for the analogy.
And that's that. that shows me everything. I don't
Shows
care.
you everything. Well,
Yes,
it's irrelevant for the
your
sake of the
choice.
argument.
We don't care.
Well, it's irrelevant
your
for the sake of the
dad might
argument.
have died and you might have hated God. That's on you, bro.
Oh, that's cringe. Imagine thinking that I wasn't an atheist before then.
No, okay. And then did you hate God more? Did you
I
hate
don't
God
hate
more?
God. God's not real. It's hard to hate something that's not real.
Okay, but if God existed, which is a logical conclusion that you can come up with, would you hate God?
Depends on which God it is.
Any God.
If it's the Christian God, I'd be kind of like confused. I'd be like, what do you mean you're good when, you know, you created sin?
Exactly. Your ego, and you would be humble, and you would be lost.
Oh, okay.
Exactly
so because you don't, so I
just
just want to summarize what just happened. Because he doesn't have a way to address the analogy, which very obviously demonstrates that the God of the Christians is incoherent if it's supposed to be good and also powerful and also all-knowing. Then, you know, because he couldn't address the analogy that demonstrates this, he instead claims that I hate God because my dad died when I was young, which is true. My dad did die when I was young, and so he was listening to that, and he tried to use like a personal tragedy as a way to discredit me because he was so incredibly stupid that he couldn't even engage with the analogy in good faith. Instead, he decided to try to get me emotionally, attack me emotionally on something that's obviously sensitive. But, you know, that's because this is the good faith argumentation of the Christian, right? He's incapable of actually engaging with something critically, and instead he has to rely on jabs towards someone's feelings. So, yeah, I would say that limited thoughts, I think that you're done here. No hate like Christian love, am I right? And for what it's worth, I was an atheist before my dad died. I've been an atheist for as long as I can remember. Anyway, let's read some super chats, shall we? We have $2 from Super Pizza. Theists can't understand analogies. No way. Yeah, analogies, hypotheticals, they're really hard for them generally. From Genji with the $50, which is extremely generous. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much, Genji. Please kick this Dillard. Well, okay, to be fair, I kicked him 4 minutes later. I hope that that's appropriate. From Christopher Sanford with the £5. Dude, my child isn't even 3 and she can have a coherent conversation, remember the next day what we plan to do, etc. I think he developed slowly. It's plausible. It's, in fact, not only is it plausible, I would say it's likely. You know, it seems like he's not emotionally mature or particularly well developed regarding his mental states just based off of that conversation alone. So yeah, it might just be the case that he thinks that 3 or 4 year olds are incapable of having conversations because he wasn't. From Dr. Fudge with the $5. I think that was that Raziel kid that's banned from your server, by the way, the one that went around calling everyone particles in motion. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I didn't recognize his voice. I didn't recognize his name. But his name was definitely representative of what his position was. Indeed, his position was indeed limited, and his thoughts were quite limited, indeed. All right. I just want to double check and make sure I didn't miss any Cash Apps. I didn't miss any any Venmos, which I do have a Venmo now, although it's not on the website yet, so I still need to add it up there. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I am going away. I am leaving on a jet plane. I'm going to be gone for about 2.5 or for about a week and a half. I won't be back till Wednesday of next week, and it'll probably be in the afternoon Wednesday. So my next live won't be for till the 23rd, I think. Yeah, the next live won't be till the 23rd, so you guys will have to find somebody else. Okay, actually, that's not true. Sorry, that's not true. There may be some. I might hop in some live streams over the next week. However, there should be a special live stream with myself, Justin, and Ian Monday after next, at least, and perhaps Tuesday after next as well. So maybe you'll see something special. Oh, we have a few more super chats that I want to read before I go, and then we'll call it there. From Peter Hegwood with the $5. From one member of the Dead Parents Club to another. Great stream today, Doctor. Fair enough. I appreciate it, brother, as a fellow member. And from NASCAR with the $20. Hey man, I'm a Christian, but I'm sorry for all the crash outs, especially with father comment. Sorry man. Look man, I'm not going to make the claim that this is representative of all Christians, but it's definitely representative of a lot of Christians who want to try to argue that Christianity is true. I know plenty of Christians that are lovely. They're like important people in my life. One of my groomsmen at my wedding, who I'm still quite close to, is very, very religious, very, very Christian. And he's a good friend of mine, and he would have never said such a thing. He's also not the kind of guy to go on and do debates. So I don't know, maybe it says something about the Christians who go on to do debates. Not all, but many. Anyway, I'm going to end the live stream here. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you around. I may or may not hop into other people's lives and, you know, dote around, jump in. We have one more from Just Rick with the $5. I'm listening a couple hours behind. This Darwin was a Christian